and it seems that the energy infrastructure is what has been targeted there. So not all of those missiles were intercepted by Israel's defense systems. Bernard, do we know any more detail about what exactly has been hit there? As I mentioned, we seem to be seeing on fire chimneys there, and as has been happening in the last 2 days, those infrastructure targets are what Iran has been going for.
Well, I guess the targets, some of the targets that Iran will be seeking out are in reflection of the targets that the Israelis have sought out in Iran. Israel has said that it has been striking, particularly today, it says, to degrade the Iranian regime's weapons production capabilities. It says it's been targeting the infrastructure of Quds forces, the IRGC, Iranian military in Tehran, and numerous weapons production sites across Iran, and it has been striking today. It says surface-to-surface missile sites. Well, the Iranians say they are also targeting now in response. This has earlier been commented on, energy infrastructure of Israel. It's obviously Israel is a much smaller country and more densely populated, and Haifa is strategically important port city where there is a refinery, and so if the Iranians are targeting energy infrastructure, then this would be a key target for them.
Yes, as you mentioned there, Bernard, it is a port city, Haifa, and we are seeing latest pictures now of more missiles being launched into the sky. Israel's defense systems intercepting many of those there. This is the third day of this escalation.
They can't do it forever, though, man. Those interceptor missiles are expensive. They can't do this forever, chat.
And what many analysts have been calling this tit for tat in terms of attacks between
that was one that hit right there. Y'all heard that?
Iran and Israel. Israel has also indicated that this could continue for the next 2 weeks. And
yeah, man, Tel Aviv's going to be on fire.
Iran saying today that they will give a powerful response. The Iranian president saying we will give a powerful response to any aggression that Israel may commit. And here it seems that they are standing by their word with this latest barrage of missiles targeting any.
Man, this is Israel being humbled, bro. I never thought the day would come, but this is literally Israel being humbled now. Holy shit, bro. Decades of air superiority, bullying the Middle East, forcing them to either get into treaties or bribery or destabilizing them. And now they're finally getting fucking punched back, man. Absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. The bully is now being bullied back. Holy shit, man.
Energy infrastructure. That seems to be the latest of what we know at the moment, Bernard, that these 3 areas of Israel have been targeted. Haifa, the port city, strategically important north of the capital, Tel Aviv, and then Jerusalem as well being targeted.
Crazy. Let's see.
Welcome back.
When did this come out? This came out 3 hours ago. Israel attacks could bring new Iranian regime, Netanyahu says. Yeah, of course they're going to say that bullshit. Let's go back into this space here, see what they're talking about.
I'll let you know.
Japan, South Korea, China, Asia.
Yeah, only Norway and Europe, by the way. Azerbaijan.
Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, basically to round it out, if you think of, like, let's just think through this somewhat logically. Even if they could sell, let's say, 70, 80, 90% of Americans or Westerners on going to support Israel, it's kind of like suggesting a house isn't on fire. And you might be able to trick, say, 70 or 80% of people that aren't paying close attention. But the thing is that the more money and resources
Laura
and
Loomis
time...
posted and said it's about to go down. So I don't know if that is in relation to the massive U.S. deployment where at least 21 to 24 refueling tankers have been moved to the Middle East, and sort of aircraft carriers and your refueling tankers. I mean, this is concerning. This is like a massive escalation. Just because Israel is getting destroyed, because I thought it was like strength. It's all about strength. Now, basically, US is going to enter. It's like ridiculous.
So, Suleiman, I wasn't going to say anything, right? But I'm going to say it now, just in case. There is an account that I think we all know of that predicted at the beginning of May everything that we're witnessing now. This account said at the beginning of May that don't be fooled by this Trump-Netanyahu negotiation, the media headlines of Trump's insisting on a resolution, etc., etc. This account said at the beginning of May, they're in this together. Come June, they're going to do X, Y, Z, they're going to strike, Trump's going to play on the sidelines, America's going to support it fully. Everything, and like the scientists are going to be hit, everything chapter and verse. And I was reading what the account said today. It is over for Iran. They're going to go for Khamenei once Khamenei's been taken out, and they will take him out. There isn't a successor. This is the mistake Iran made, that they didn't build a successor in his place. And when they take Khamenei out, there's going to be pandemonium in that country, and Israel will get the regime change it wants. And this is somebody who's pro-Palestinian, anti-Zionist and stuff, but just really has a finger on the pulse. And it sticks in my gut when I read that today. It really sticks in my gut. And I don't know what America's planning. Doc was like, yes, nothing, refueling. I mean, I'm sorry, but 21 jets and all these frigging tankers don't go there. Just what they're frigging refueling? I mean, are they just people just sat there like to refuel? What are they going there to refuel? There's something going down. And for Laura Loomer to tweet that, it's even more worrying. I mean, she's dumb anyway, but it's worrying. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, Suleiman.
See, that's what I was saying earlier, Khaleesi. I don't know if you're in the room or not. But I said that. How it works.
There's already success.
I'm sorry, I was talking.
Process. Yeah, well.
Can you guys hear me? Thank you. Is that this isn't over, and what I'm really concerned about is when the U.S. actually really gets involved. It's great that we're doing as well as we're doing right now, but did you really think the U.S. was not going to do anything? So, and then what's left, right?
Well, the reality is that Israel can't really defend itself. That's been a lie that's been pushed out for years, right? Saying like, oh, we have a right to defend ourselves. But the reality is they really can't. If it were not for U.S. backing and the enormous amount of aid we give them, the enormous amount of cover we provide for them at the UN, if it wasn't for all the military, we gave them $12 billion so far, right? In just a few months. So for the Israelis to sit there and say we have a right to defend ourselves and we are going to defend ourselves, no, what it should really say is we reserve the right for the United States to always intervene and help us out and defend ourselves, because if Israel had to rely upon itself for self-defense, they would be taken over literally within days from the Arab world. Also, they would have to move differently and be far more diplomatic and far more appeasing to the Palestinians. But the reason why they behave so recklessly and they do the things that they do and start fights with their neighbors and do false flags and run all these clandestine operations and violate sovereignty of all these different Arab countries is because they know that they have the United States there to always back them up when they make these really bad decisions that we are going to pull them out. And right now, we're at a crossroads right now. Like, Israel's getting pummeled. They've never been hit this hard in a very long time, and they're starting to feel the effects of the destruction that they've caused. If the U.S. doesn't intervene at some point, they're going to have to capitulate. But I'll turn to somebody else.
But the thing is, so right now with I guess the American involvement, aside from refueling, we're sending again all these carriers and personnel, equipment, all that stuff over there. And the troubling thing is when Trump said not too long ago, talking about America First, what's America First mean? And it went from America First being anti-interventionist, fixing their own problems, not being involved in other people's messes, to saying, we can't have Iran have a nuclear thing, it's not peaceful, and we have to pretty much do something about that. Like, this entire quote from that, I'll read it back for you guys right now, which is very troubling when I saw this, actually. He said this, considering I'm the one that developed America First, and considering that the term wasn't used until I came along, I think I'm the one who decides that. For those people who say they want peace, you can't have peace if Iran has a nuclear weapon. So for all those wonderful people who don't want to do anything about Iran having a nuclear weapon, that's not peace. So what do you do with that if that's not peace? What do? You intervene, you get involved. And that's the opposite of what Americaverse should be. We're pretty much putting our own people or personnel at risk. We're going to be bombing another country and civilians, most likely. And we're going to be starting the cycle all over again where we have Middle East War 2.0, where never who knows how long. And if we are going to be attacking, Iran, is Pakistan going to get involved? Are they going to attack things too, or our own people, our own troops, personnel? It's a big problem here, and we're being dragged into this because of Israel, 100%. Like, Israel needs us for the air defense systems, and us for military assistance. Like, if this were like just like Mexico firing some missiles,
just some more breaking news, Chief. Yeah. I'll get back to you. Somebody want to read it? Felicia?
Yeah, I got it. So,
yeah.
You got it, okay?
I got it. So, breaking the IRGC official statement, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard official statement. We executed moments ago a new wave of attacks against the Zionist entity, stronger and more destructive than the previous one. Our missile operations targeted command and control systems belonging to the Zionist entity. We employed innovative methods, information technologies, and advanced equipment in the operation. The strikes caused confusion in the enemy's multi-layered defense systems to the extent that some of its defense systems fired upon each other. Fire! So they literally caused confusion to the extent that some of the defense systems fired upon each other. Guys, the tweet is in the nest. Please share it. Please retweet it. I see Israel Exposed has already put the kind of, whatever they call it, image of the planes being flying east. And yeah, Brokey's right. Iran are cooking. I'm just looking at some of the comments. Guys, please share it. Please retweet it. It's in the nest. And if we take anything out of the nest and you miss it, please just go to Suleiman's profile. It's all there. Thanks for that. Chief, back to you. Sorry for that.
Yeah. So I think the point is, like, if imagine Mexico fired some rockets and blew off, some Texas facility or some, I guess, a base or something like that, or even killed Texas generals or members of the military. We would be bombing Mexico immediately, and no one would tell us otherwise. But because America is playing defense, and UK is playing defense, and the West is playing defense for Israel. Whenever Israel bombs a nuclear facility, it bombs a power plant or refineries, it executes nuclear scientists, it kills IRGC members and generals and leadership. When all that happens, you expect there to be a massive response. Because of just this Western intervention, it never happens. It's completely one-sided. This is antagonism from Israel over and over and over again. And we are being dragged into this war because of Israel, because of their interest, because of what they want, which is, of course, a greater Israel, control of the West Bank.
Guys, I'm gonna go ahead and start explaining for you guys how the fuck we got here pretty soon, because I don't think people have the full history of what went down. So I'll start preparing stuff for you guys here in a second to prepare this monologue for you, ninjas. So let me unmute this shit. So
some more breaking news and go straight back to you, Chief. I put a tweet in the nest, and basically what it is Israel is someone me and Trump has been saying from Facebook.
I don't know what's going on here. All right, let me refresh the page for you guys. Also, guys, smash the like button if you guys are watching this on YouTube. Smash that like button, guys. We only got 3,000 likes, but we got almost 5,000 you motherfuckers in here. So smash that like button. We got, I think altogether between all the different platforms, we got almost 10,000 you guys watching on all the platforms. Smash that like button, bro. All right, guys, we're live on Kick, Rumble, YouTube, OSS, etc. Smash that like button. Also, join OSS. Only $4 to get in. Pinned at the top. Okay. Support the mission. $10 a month. At most, $4 the first month, or you can get $55 for the year. Let me go back into this space because it was starting to lag there. But yes, Israel is under attack, chat. So smash that like button on YouTube. Let's get to 4,000 likes. Let's get the engagement up.
They're attempting to have people arrested. So even the videos and images we get in when we're like, whoa, whatever, it's only a small amount of the reality of how bad the devastation really is. And thought it's an important point to say while it's happening live, of videos that are happening live, just for you to understand the implications of the reality of what's happening there.
Yeah, by the way,
Chief, finish your point, and then I want Truth to add in.
Just to clarify, by the way, there's a funny community note about this for Vivid Prowess or whatever. From the note pretty much says that he's an Indian, who's in India, and he's talking about missiles flying over his house or something. Just for context. So yeah, I don't think he's in Israel right now. I think he's trying to like make stuff up, honestly.
No, Chief, just to tell you, Chief, something. Just for whatever it's worth, even community note says that he's an Indian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't think he's hiding. I think he's on a server farm or something. About
no, he lies. He claims he's in Israel.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. But regardless, I think that it is funny though seeing Israel talking about, don't film this, don't record this. The people are gonna have phones. They have, smartphones. They have cameras. They have their own eyes and word of mouth, and they're telling people about this. And I think there is a portion of destruction or damage we have not seen yet. I think even when Israel struck Iran, we did see some videos there as well. I mean, I think in terms of how much intelligence can be gathered from like a video of like a blown up facility, you can probably assess the damage and calibrate and see exactly what the situation is down there, if it needs further targeting or not.
Sorry, I got a quick update, just one second. So this is it, I'll be quick. Confirmed by eyewitnesses from the Negev to Nablus News Channel. Nevatim Airport in the Negev completely destroyed by Iranian missiles in the latest barrage with direct hits. It is an American military airbase, and a large number of 1,000 for injuries and casualty deaths, while many will succumb to their injuries. In addition to those actually dead, they're only claiming like 10 or 12 maybe. In addition to those that are still trapped under the rubble, they just won't be able to extract on time. So Israel will, of course, delay, avoid, and gaslight on reporting accurate numbers just to maintain morale and, of course, to still maintain that mythical aura of invincibility. Sorry, Chief.
Yeah, no, I'll just say in terms of like intelligence you get from video, I mean, you can get, I guess the damage assessment, you can figure out if your missiles were off by a little bit, figure out if it needs further bombing or not. But it is funny because I've seen these accounts saying, jail these people, jail them. But, I mean, I think it's honestly a wasted effort if they're really focused on whatever's going on in that region. I mean, I don't think they're worried about a couple of journalists filming a video of a war that Israel started. So, I mean, that's pretty much my perspective about it. But, I mean, I guess a better question would be asking, I mean, in terms of this conflict, do you think it's lasting for, a few more weeks? Like, how long-term do you think this entire thing has been going on for?
They said they're going to go a few more weeks at least, both on the Iranian side and Israel as well.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they wave the white flag sooner. I mean, Israel's already begging for a coalition to come in. UK and France, the US are in. Jordan will do it, but it's also Saudi, UAE, and Qatar. So they've got their little coalition. Iran's calling for its own coalition, besides Pakistan and, well, probably Lebanon.
Chat, I'm getting ready to give you guys probably one of the most thorough breakdowns on this conflict and how we got here. So get your popcorn ready. I'm kind of preparing things for you guys. I'm going to give you guys a nice little snapshot of the Middle East and how the fuck we got here. So be ready in a little bit.
Just some tweet in the nest and then we'll go straight to you, Simon. What's in, just check out, because I might have put on some funny tweets out, so just watch it. But yeah, there's a tweet in the nest. What's in? Okay, I'll read it.
No, I don't say it yet, Sully, sorry.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'll read it, no problem. Air defense system at the Nevatim Air Base was hit by the latest rocket barrage. True, what did you say? Did you say it was, you said that
the airport, the airspace had been struck heavily. There's a lot of casualties. Of course, now reporting how many numbers. And just to remind everybody, Nevatim's their most important base, they claim anyway, where they have the hangars for the F-35s. That's, obviously, I'm not sure if they've been damaged as well. They might have moved them. But, and it's also heavily guarded with air defense systems that obviously failed. But they've struck that before. They even struck that during True Promise 1. They struck it again in True Promise 2. This is the third or fourth time they've struck it now. So, but this is probably the heaviest barrage. And we're not able to see. I mean, they're going to cover that up as much as they can, and whatever live footage some of these brave cameramen are willing to capture and post. So that's a big deal.
I guess
Are you guys seeing the reports that Khamenei's dead?
I
Supposedly
heard,
it's on
yeah, I
Italian
heard that.
news. It's on Italian news, by the way. I know a lot of people on
They have
here.
a tendency.
I've heard these
So
rumors,
Joe, they have a
like,
tendency to want to steal headlines when Iran does this. They did this yesterday as well. They were claiming assassinations of the Al Houthi guy as well. He's one of the commanders for the Yemeni forces, and it turned out it was false. It was an attempted assassination and it failed. So they're just trying to steal the headlines. Again, this is media and propaganda warfare. They're competing, right, for the headlines. And so
Yeah,
they're
I
trying
don't
to steal the
believe-
headlines because they've suffered so heavily today. It's even worse than yesterday, it seems. And so they're just trying to claim something that's big, but it's false.
yeah, exactly.
Shout out to Bobo, gifted 5 subs. I appreciate that. And Based Retard gifted a sub as well. Thank you so much on Kick. Don't worry, Kick niggas. I didn't forget about y'all. Shout out to you guys. We are currently sitting at around 1,800 subs on Kick, man. So shout out to you guys. Thank you guys so much. We're actually one of the fastest growing channels on Kick as well, man. I haven't even really advertised it like that. We already got 3,000 plus followers on here. We got, 365 live viewers. So shout out to you guys on Kick, despite the fact that not many people know that I'm even on here like that. So shout out to all you ninjas. I'm preparing to go ahead and give you guys a monologue here. I just want to make sure I get all the updates before I do, because it's going to take me some time to explain this for you guys. Shout out to the FU guy, the fun guy, gifted a sub to Gorilla Warrior. Guys, by the way, if you are a brokey, just type in the chat, I'm a brokey, and someone will give you a sub, man. So shout out to you guys. And also, we're at we got a good amount of, we got 558 strong in the OSS, guys. Almost got 1,000 total members, and then almost, we got 560 active supporters, guys. Let's get that number to 700 by tonight, and then continue to grow the OSS army so we can go ahead and basically tell censorship and YouTube to fuck off. Okay, you can join in for only $4 to support the mission instead of sending a super chat to make fun of a girl. You can go ahead and send in $4 and join the OSS, and it's only gonna be $10 a month. I'm not gonna raise the price on you guys. Or you can join 55 for the year and be completely taken care of. A lot of value you get for only $10 a month. Merch discounts, call into the show, get your super chats read with only $1 spent. If you're an OSS member, you get access to the chat. You get access to community, 1 free meetup per year on 420 in Miami. Whenever I travel, like next time I go to New York, for example, I'll have an OSS meetup with you guys. So, so it's gonna be lit, man. It's gonna be absolutely lit. All right, let's get back to the thing here. And like I said before, I'm going to go over the history of how we got into October 7th and how we got into this war very soon.
Yeah. So I want to get I hear a lot of people say that these wars are for Israel. I just want to make sure everyone understands the flow of funds correctly and who benefits from this. So Trump comes along and says, I want one big, beautiful bill. He says we need $1.5 trillion. All
right, let me go ahead and read some of the chats. I just want to see what they were talking about. Okay, so we got here, Albo Ace, $5. I really hope the U.S. doesn't intervene. I know, guys, remember, I'm only reading chats 5 and up, unless you're a OSS member. Alboy says, I really hope the U.S. doesn't intervene. I know they came out and said they will not jump into this war, but with recent events and how they have lied, I can't help but think that they are trying to trick people and Iran will come out with a surprise attack. Yeah, I mean, bro, Israel can't defend itself, so we are going to have to get involved at some point. Alboy says, thank you for getting me interested in geopolitics, especially Middle Eastern affairs, and red-pilling me about them boys. I was never into this years ago, but glad I am now, and I continue to pass down the info to family and friends and red pill them too. All right, well, I'm glad, Albo, that the information has been good for you, man. That's my goal, man, is to help you guys understand what the hell's going on. Axion 3D says, watch the attack on Haifa and Tel Aviv on Agenda Free's YouTube channel live. Just a little. Where the hell did it go? It's a little bit hard to read on this website here. Sometimes it's fucking pissing me off. Okay, on Travel Agenda YouTube just a little bit ago. Back to the stream and check it out. Yeah, I saw it earlier. Tom, thoughts on whether the feds have illegal immigrant sympathizers working internally, deliberately detaining U.S. citizens to create bad optics for Trump's aim to deport? You think the admin is considering this as I would if I were a nefarious actor? I don't think so, bro. Christy Nome, that would put her in a bad spot. Let's see here. All right, so let me go ahead and look, make sure I didn't miss any of these chats from you guys. Fires Jiber says, I've been here before we had 100. This growth of the community is fire. Pause. Like the video, guys. Falcon Punch and happy Father's Day, fellas. I appreciate that, Jabbar. Squat says, did you see Nick Fuentes was in Iranian news media based? Yeah, I did see that. Vance Bolter has been arrested 1 minute ago. Okay, breaking news. He got arrested. Lost Boy 978 subscribed. Shout out to you, bro. Well, welcome to the OSS. I'm going to give you a Don DeMarco for that one. What was Archduke Ferdinand point for World War III since we're in it? I understand Hebrew, he said oy vey. Okay, bro. Do you think they killed the spokesperson for Palestine, Abu Obaida? We haven't heard from him in months. I don't know if they killed him, bro. That's a good question. I don't know. I think he's still alive because they would have announced if they killed him. Trust me, the Israelis love admitting when they, or they love, you know, notifying everybody if they kill someone of interest like that. So I don't think so, bro. I mean, sorry, I don't think they killed him. Any collab coming with Nick soon? Soon, don't worry. Let's go ahead and look into this, though, with this guy that got arrested. You guys are saying this motherfucker got arrested here. Vance Bolter.
Weapons in that
Yep, they got his ass.
SUV. That was closely searched yesterday. That's where they found this so-called, you know, manifesto. It was explained a little differently, but certainly within these charges, it reads.
Don't worry, guys. We'll get back into the Iranian conflict.
That there were names, there was addresses, there was multiple weaponry in his vehicle, and of course he had to abandon that because he was encountered by some police officers who, when they went to Senator Hoffman's home where the initial shooting occurred early Saturday morning, it dawned on them his position. They preemptively went to the house just to do what I would call a welfare check. And when they arrive there, they see that, you know, what they thought was a police car, and they have this encounter with the armed gunman, who we now believe is Vance Belter. There's an exchange of gunfire. He apparently runs into the house, out the back, which is that Edinburgh golf course. It would take authorities, law enforcement, nearly 48 hours to finally bring this to a conclusion. But finding him alive, apparently using drones to discover him, perhaps getting help by a trail camera near his house, and then getting drones up above to look down below. And our understanding was he was crawling around in dirt, and to sort of enhance that thought is this idea in that audio. You do hear authorities tell him to stand up and walk towards their voice.
Can we put the Green Isle video up in the box now? I just want to...
I've been looking for you.
Abbas says, thank you for all the value provided.
A note from someone named...
Advice, 25
Looks
years
like
old, making
that's
6
it.
figures.
Got to
Congratulations, Abbas. I appreciate that, man. And yeah, man, thank you for supporting, guys. The reason why I made the OSS, like I said before, so that we could continue the fight and also to, you know, have you guys be able to support me in a way where you get involved with the show, save some money, get some value, and also be able to do it where it doesn't break the bank. Oh, shit. Okay. They ended my fucking OSS stream. I'm going to get it back up, though. Don't worry, ninjas. Coming up right now. It's going to come back up.
Next phase, and that is the charges filed against Bolter District Court, 4th Judicial District. This is Hennepin County, obviously. Charge 1, second-degree murder with intent. On or about June 14th, Hennepin County, Vance Luther Bolter acting with intent to kill, cause the death of victim 1. And then, there we go. Thank you for the video editing. Live right now, folks. And the image you see up on the top left is Vance Bolter being apprehended. Thanks to Ramsey County Police. They send us this on the video. Very arrest right there. Count 2, secondary murder again. On or about June 14th, acting with intent to kill, cause the death of victim 2 are the ones. Then there were 2 more charges, similar charges, attempted murder on those 2, second degree as well. Those are the charges, and I am reading also that it looks like a $5 million bond will be requested for condition of release on this warrant as well. So that will be next phase as we continue to follow this story. We are awaiting, our viewers should know, we are awaiting a 10:30 update from police on this where Paul Bloom is. So that is certainly going to provide a lot of information on how this thing went down. We're filling in the pieces, connecting the dots, because we had some really awesome sourcing tonight, some great sources calling into Fox 9 and put the pieces together, and it came down pretty much as it looked like it was going to.
And Randy, as I'm just reading through the statement of probable cause in real time here with you and with Paul, you know, there have been a lot of questions from people who are, I guess, just kind of curious about what happened at the Hortman home, because we knew the officers arrived, we knew that there was an exchange, and then we knew that the suspect fled, but we have just a little bit more sort of detail here, because I think the question that, you know, is posed sometimes is, well, you know, how did he get away, and you know, you've got officers there. And so I just wanted to read to you just this portion here. So let's see, Paul mentioned they proactively sent a couple of patrol officers from Brooklyn Park to the home.
As a wellness check, if I understand it, right?
Yeah, just sort of proactively saying, hey, we know that.
Hey, sorry, OSS guys, I don't know what the fuck happened there, but it seems as though 6 hours seems to be the limit. So I'm going to call locals tomorrow and fix that for you guys. I'm going to call the locals people and fix that for you guys. So apologize about that. It's probably because it's a new account, so I have to, you know, there's limits on how long you can stream. That's a good sign, though. That means that we're cooking that much. So, but we're back up on OSS. Sorry about that, guys.
You know, the Hortmans live in Brooklyn Park. All the PDs where the sort of VIPs are living in their communities. So it says when officers arrived at approximately 3:35 a.m., they saw the Ford SUV with police-style lights and immediately stopped. This was dressed as a police officer. Here in his victim too, who we know is Mark Hortman. Exchanged gunfire with the defendant, who fled the residence before escaping the area. Inside the residence, officers found 2 adults deceased from gunshot wounds. So we know that to be Mark Hortman and Melissa Hortman. But I think, you know, a little bit more information on that exchange, at what point exactly the officers arrived, you know, how close was it? That gives us a little bit more of an indication.
And there is a gut-wrenching part of this as far as the first incident of the shooting of Senator Hoffman occurred, and I'll read that as well. Champlin officers, police officers responding to a shooting at the residence in Champlin. A 911 caller reported that a masked person had come to their door and then shot their parents, which obviously tells all of us that the children,
it was
their
daughter,
their daughter, was the one that had to make that 911 call and alert officers that the man had come to their door and shot her parents.
We know just from we've covered stories with Senator Hoffman and his family, and we know just from our Courtney Godfrey too that their daughter Hope has spina bifida and lived with them. I believe about 28 years old is what we were told. And so she, as we're reading now, unfortunately, was, as we feared, the one who made that call to 911.
This information released moments ago because there was an arrest. It was to be sealed until that, so we are getting this information very quickly. Again, there is going to be a presser coming up here in about 20 minutes if everything stays on time. There was a very detailed list of the weapons that were found in the alleged shooter's vehicle: 3 AK-47 assault rifles, a 9mm handgun, disassembled 9mm firearm, ballistic vest, gold police-style badge. All that fits the description of a man posing as a police officer when he knocked on the doors of these 2 Minnesota politicians and their spouses.
Lori, do we have So Young, or do we have Karen? Okay. All right, they're just logging in here. In just about a minute, we're going to take you out live to Green Isle. I don't know if we want to pop that picture up. I know, sorry, Lori, we've got...
Bro is ready for war, man.
Producers in the booth kind of shuffling things around back there. But okay, so here's the live picture of Green Isle. This would be not necessarily right where the farm is. You can see a little bit more of a paved road there. There's been a staging area, so I'm not sure exactly how close our crew is. I know they wouldn't have been able to get very close to the farm itself, but there was a staging area, and that's where I'm guessing this is. Yeah, they're moving around just a little bit here, where law enforcement has been staged here for the last couple of days. Yeah, that looks like that area to me. So
it actually went down very quickly when you think about it.
It did, and so we'll.
All right, let's go back to Iran, covering all the news, baby, covering all the news here.
Is just what would be average to do that, which I'm sure Israel wants to try. I mean, they are kind of doing it already.
They're fearful now of bringing those F-35s close to the air defense systems they haven't taken out, because Iran successfully took out 3 F-35s. So unless those are for B-2s or B-52s, doubt it. I mean, they're desperate to get Iran in to struck at least that feral.
Do they still have to? Remember, they moved the B-52s to that area like I don't know,
the
5-6 months ago.
Well, it was a couple months ago, right? They moved the Diego Garcia base. But then I heard they moved it back last month.
I didn't see that. Is there any way to check?
Guys, smash the like button. We got 3,200 likes, but 4,500 of you guys watching right now. Do me a favor. Smash that fucking like button, man, if you're watching on YouTube.
It was more than that. It was like 5 or 6, and plus refueling tanks. It was like over $200 billion worth of fighter jets. Each one of those B-2s retails like over $2 billion.
I thought those B-52s could fly for long periods of time without even refueling. Do they need to actually be that close?
They can fly really long distance, but if you're carrying that much weight, it consumes fuel much faster.
Carrying 30,000-pound bunker busters, you're going to be expending a lot more fuel.
And what's even more embarrassing, I mean, I don't want to go talk about Lebanon, but what's even more embarrassing in that 2006?
All right, so I think it's time, gentlemen. We're gonna go through and break this down. I'm gonna drink a little bit of water here. I'm gonna let you guys listen to this for like another minute or so, and I'm gonna go into and explain how the fuck we got here with this Iran war, okay?
Why does it feel like on X all of a sudden, all at the same time, multiple people saying that Iran is finished? Like all of a sudden, showing notes from 42 generals approved, blah blah blah, like trying to show like social proof that America, like after I made the comment, and I know it's not because of me, after I made the comment that it doesn't seem like there's any American to support, in the past hour, it seems like every single, you know, political influencer is saying that Iran's done for, the generals are supporting us, 42 generals said yes, blah blah blah.
I'm noticing
all at
that
the same
too.
time. Yeah.
Okay, I found something on your B. So here, March 2024, 2 B-52s from the 2nd Bomb Wing, Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana, arrived at Diego Garcia, that's in the Indian Ocean, for BTF mission, marking their return to the island since their first return since 2020. By May 2025, satellite imagery confirmed 4 B-52s alongside 6 B-2s, totaling 10 heavy bombers at the base, a rare concentration. So that was last month. B-52s capable of carrying a wide range of conventional and nuclear weapons were deployed to maintain pressure on the Houthis and deter Iran, particularly in the context of nuclear talks.
And they're still there though, right?
Yeah, I guess they're still there.
Fire says, not being an OSS chat makes me feel like I'm in the lower deck of the Titanic. Brokey, make locals great again. Hey man, you're in the local chat is, bro, the chat is up, bro. The chat is absolutely up. So, it's up on screen right now. All right, let's see here. If there's anything else, then we're gonna go ahead and do this thing.
Simon, did you finish your point that you were making before?
I finished, yeah, but Yeah, I'd love to hear anyone tell me how the Israel benefits from this and not America.
Yeah, I do actually disagree, but I'm like so busy tweeting. I don't think I'll give it the.
No worries, we'll do it another.
All right. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and go into this shit. All right, man. So we're going to go through this. And, you know, I think for you guys to understand what the hell's going on right now between Israel and Iran, you need to kind of go back a bit and understand that this has been a long time coming, okay? The Middle East is a very strategic point for Western powers because of, you know, the wealth of oil that's there. And also because, obviously, Israel's there. And when I tell you guys that Israel's been responsible for a lot of the problems in the Middle East, I'm not kidding around. I'm going to kind of go through this with you guys so you guys understand the history, the geography, and how, quite frankly, how we got to this position right now with Iran. Let's see here. Before I get into this, though, I want you guys to smash that like button, okay? Because, you know, this type of content is obviously censored and gotten me in quite a bit of trouble before, and the best way that you can support the mission is by joining OSS, obviously. But anyway, let's go ahead. Let me just make sure I have everything here. Sorry, guys. Precise. Presentations. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Okay, so as you guys know, Israel's been occupying the Gaza Strip and the West Bank for a very long time. This has caused an enormous amount of anger in the Muslim Arab world, and they look at it as, you know, we have this colonial ethno-state here on Arab land displacing the indigenous people, and not only are they doing that, they're doing it in a disrespectful manner. They're taking their land, they're abusing them. It's an apartheid state, etc. Right? We understand that. Now, for a very long time, the Arab world rebelled against Israel. But slowly, over time, agreements were signed, treaties were made, etc. And one of the ones that's important for the purposes of today is going to be the Abraham Accords, right? And the Abraham Accords, guys, are a bilateral agreements on Arab-Israeli normalization signed between Israel and United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, etc. And you guys can see here, basically this is something that Trump did in 2020. And the Abraham Accords basically normalize relations between Sudan, Morocco, the UAE, Israel, and Bahrain. And during the Biden administration, Saudi Arabia and some other Gulf state countries were supposed to join in as well. Okay? And this basically was a red line for the Palestinians. Okay? Because for a very long time, one of the things that the Palestinians had on their side was the Arab world did not accept and recognize Israel as a state, okay? And obviously this affects them geopolitically, diplomatically, economically, etc. when they're not being recognized. Now, officially at least, officially. And, you know, a lot of these countries vowed that they would not recognize Israel until there was a two-state solution or until the Palestinian question had been answered, okay? And when there was an announcement that Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states were going to potentially join into the Abraham Accords, because weeks before, when October 7th happened, there was a planned meeting between Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states and Israel to bring them into the Abraham Accords. And obviously this was the red line for Hamas and these other Palestinian groups. And they ended up invading on October 7th to derail the Abraham Accords, right? And this guy, Abu Ubaidah, talked about this. He's the spokesperson for Hamas, right? And he outlined a bunch of different reasons why they invaded on October 7th and they conducted that operation. Obviously, you know, one of them was the red calves, which I talked to you guys about before. The red calves was to, you know, symbolize a ceremony that the Israelis were going to do where they were going to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque and then rebuild the temple. And they had these red heifers there to signify the return of their Messiah, whatever. But that was a part of the reason, as well as the the Abraham Accords. Saudi Arabia being involved in this Abraham Accords, because Saudi Arabia in the Muslim world, guys, it's where Mecca is, it's where Medina is. Very important religious context, right? So if Saudi Arabia got put into the Abraham Accords, it would effectively mean the end of the Palestine question, okay? So that was a big reason why they invaded on October 7th. The Red Heifers, and then Saudi Arabia coming into the Abraham Accords. Also the occupation, the fact that, Gaza is an open air prison, the everything else going on, the expansion to the West Bank. There were so many different reasons why Hamas invaded on October 7th. But something that's very important was the Abraham Accords, which I don't think gets enough attention, okay? Now, after October 7th, okay, as you guys know, roughly 200 plus Israelis were kidnapped, right? And brought back to the Gaza Strip. And just so you guys have a map here, here is the Gaza Strip, okay? And after Hamas conducted their operation and they brought these hostages back, they tried to negotiate for getting Palestinians out of jail. And what ended up happening instead was Israel led a huge campaign into the Gaza Strip. They started off here in northern Gaza and then worked their way down into Rafah, okay? And basically, throughout the end of 2023, they led an extensive bombing campaign where they pretty much disrupted and dismantled many of Hamas's infrastructure, okay? As they were doing this, okay, what ended up happening was they conducted a couple of key assassinations, okay? One of the assassinations they conducted was of this guy, Ismail Haniyeh. Now, Ismail Haniyeh, guys, was the chief negotiator for Hamas, and he was the head of the political wing. So Hamas has two different components. They have a political wing and they have the military wing. This guy was the person that they were negotiating with Hamas. And not only did they assassinate him, but they assassinated him in Iran. Okay, they assassinated him all the way over here in Tehran. All right? And he was there for the presidential inauguration of the current president of Iran now. This guy. It's Pezekian or something like that. I can't pronounce his name, but I'll show you guys who he is real quick. Masoud Pezeshkian. Okay, this dude. All right. So Ismail Haniyeh was there for his inauguration, all right, in July of last year. And while he was there, he stayed at a guest house, okay? And shouts Arc Lightning with the 50 gifted subs. Thank you, Arc Lightning. I love you, bro. Thank you so much, man. You've been such a huge supporter. Rocking with the mission. Thank you so much. I'm going to keep giving y'all this fire, this heat. So anyway, so Ismail Haniyeh was there for the presidential inauguration of this guy, which, by the way, he was there to replace another president that had been killed in a helicopter crash. But that's a whole other conversation. Regardless, Mossad assassinated him in Tehran, Iran. Now, obviously, from a geopolitical standpoint, this was incredibly embarrassing to the regime, because not only did Israel violate their sovereignty, but they assassinated their guest in their country, okay? Incredibly embarrassing. So obviously they, did a full sweep of the IRGC, figure out who was a collaborator, etc. And a couple of IRGC members were actually arrested after this. But this was bad. So that was one escalation. Incredibly embarrassing to Iran, right? Also, I think it's important to note that Iran was also angry because Trump and the Israelis had worked to kill Qasem Soleimani. This guy was a military officer who served in the IRGC from 1998 until his assassination in 2020 during the first Trump administration, right? And former Mossad director Yossi Cohen says Soleimani's strategies are personally tightened a noose around Israel's neck. So this guy was pretty much the head of the Axis of Resistance. Now you guys are probably wondering, Myra, what the fuck is Axis of Resistance? The Axis of Resistance, guys, is basically Iran and all their proxies, okay? Led by Iran, members are Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and obviously the Houthis down here in Yemen. And basically what they would do is they would basically utilize their geographic locations to put pressure on Israel. Okay, so when Israel went into Gaza, right after October 7th, the Hezbollah up here in the north started launching rockets into Haifa and northern Israel, and they did this to make sure that the IDF could not put the full brunt of their ground forces all the way into Gaza. Okay, while this was happening, the Houthis were also sending rockets into the Houthis down here. Okay, we're also sending rockets into Israel. All right, and the way that they were getting resources was Iran would send these weapons and resources through Iraq, through Syria, destined for Lebanon, because Lebanon is probably one of the best geographic places to attack Israel from the north, right? And Bashar al-Assad, the president of Syria, right, during this time, would allow the free flow of these weapons. Okay, he was backed by the Iranian regime, and we're going to talk about Bashar al-Assad a little bit later. But he was the president for a very long time. The Assad regime ran for like 40 to 50 years, his father, etc. So, going back here, right, that is the axis of resistance, right? Now, going back to Ismail Haniyeh, he was assassinated there, caused a lot of embarrassment for Iran. Now, this was on top of their guy, Qasem Soleimani, being assassinated, right? And on top of this, Israel had also bombed the Iranian embassy in Syria, okay? So on April 4, 2024, Israel conducted an airstrike in the Iranian embassy complex in Damascus, Syria, destroying the building housing its consular section. 16 people were killed in the strike, including 8 officers of the IRGC. Okay? Huge escalation by doing that. Huge. Right? That's an act of war, chat. So, obviously, this is a big fucking deal. Right? So that's another escalation. Right? So, first, they kill Ishmael. Well, let's go back chronologically. First, they kill Qasem Soleimani, right?
Yes.
In 2020.
To put out the lighthouse fire, and
then
don't worry about them. We'll make sure they wash up safe. Maybe they'll even pay us for their crash.
First, they kill Soleimani in 2020, right? Big escalation. Then they fucking conduct an airstrike on their consulate in Damascus in 2024, April 1st, 2024. Then they killed Ismail Haniyeh on July 31st, 2024. Then they killed, literally right after, this guy, Fuad Shukr, okay? I think the day before, actually, yeah, Ismail Haniyeh was the 31st? Yeah, so they killed, the day before they killed Fuad Shukr. Now, who is this guy? This guy was a high-ranking official of Hezbollah, all right, in Lebanon, right? The Israelis killed him as well. Then they killed Hassan Nasrallah. This is the head of Hezbollah. They killed him on September 27th, as they were doing a ground assault, right? Also, they had killed Yahya Sinwar in October of 2024, okay? They ran into him while they were fighting in Rafah. They didn't plan to find him there, but they ended up finding him. He was actually fighting on the front lines with Hamas fighters, right? So, all these assassinations. Kill Ismail Haniyeh, July 31st, 2024. Kill Fuad Shukr, July 30th, 2024. Kill Hassan Nasrallah, head of Hezbollah, September 27th, 2024. Yahya Sinwar killed October 16th, 2024. And then, after the Hezbollah negotiated a ceasefire, because okay, so as Israel did their ground assault in Rafah and they finished up, they began a ground assault on Lebanon. Okay, so after they wrapped up in Gaza at the end of 2024, they started to do towards the end of 2024, they started to do a ground assault, right? So October 7th happens 2023. The entire year, they're fighting in Gaza. Then, towards the end of 2024, right, they had been fighting now for almost a year, they start a ground assault up in Lebanon in September or so of 2024. They invaded Lebanon to stop the rockets from shooting into northern Israel. Because keep in mind, guys, they had 60. There was about 60,000 Israelis had to evacuate this area. Okay, 60,000 Israelis had to evacuate this area. So obviously they said, yo, we got to get rid of Hezbollah and get rid of these rockets in southern Lebanon. So the IDF invaded. When the IDF invaded, they started bombing the hell out of Beirut. During the bombings, this is when they killed Hassan Nasrallah. That's why he was killed in September of 2024, right? Now, this obviously created an enormous amount of confusion and problems for Hezbollah. Also, on top of this, they successfully conducted their pager attack, okay? As you guys know, the Mossad had put bombs and walkie-talkies, beepers, pagers, and other types of communication devices that Hezbollah had been using. They had put these explosives in there roughly 10 years prior, okay? And they detonated them in September of 2024. So as they began their ground assault, they detonated these pagers and walkie-talkies. Thousands of, or hundreds, if not 1,000 or so, Hezbollah fighters were killed or badly injured, okay? All throughout Lebanon, while they were doing the airstrikes and doing their ground assault, okay? Now, though Israel did not get as far as they wanted to, because they wanted to make it all the way to Beirut, they couldn't even make it past the Litani River. What ended up happening was they agreed to a ceasefire. After they had the ceasefire, rebels in Syria started to coordinate to take over Syria, led by this guy, Ahmed al-Shara, aka Jolani, former Al-Qaeda member, okay? He led the rebels in Syria, and what they did was they were originally here in Idlib, okay? Him and his rebels. After the ceasefire between Hezbollah and the IDF, Israel, he went ahead and proceeded northeast and took over Aleppo, one of the big cities in Syria. After they took over Aleppo, they went down the M5 highway and took over Hama, Homs, and eventually worked their way to Damascus. As they were working their way to Damascus, Bashar al-Assad, this guy, fled to Russia, okay? Now, guys, there had been a civil war in Syria for a decade plus at this point. He had been weakened, and the air power that he relied on from the Russians was not there to help him. For many years, Bashar al-Assad was able to stay in power because he had the Russians supporting him. The Russians had a port here in Tartus, a very good strategic location for the Russians to be, okay? And unfortunately, due to the war in Ukraine, Russia was not able to give the vital air support that Assad and his regime had relied upon to keep the rebels at bay. Also, Hezbollah was significantly weakened from the fight with the IDF. They lost their command structure, like I told you guys before. They lost Fuad Shukr, they lost Hassan Nasrallah, and many other generals within Hezbollah. And they were rattled. So Hezbollah was not able to help. The Russians were not able to provide air power. And within 3 weeks, Syria was taken by al-Shara, okay? And Bashar al-Assad fled Syria and went to Russia, where he's there to this day, okay? And after this was done, the Israelis took the Golan Heights, occupied it, right? They took the Golan Heights, and then they airstruck all of Syria's military infrastructure. They bombed their bases, they bombed their air force, their planes, they bombed their missile defense. They pretty much crippled Syria militarily so that if al-Shara did decide to double cross the Israelis, he would not have the ability to do so. Okay? So Syria fell. Now the reason why this is such a big deal is because this effectively impeded Iran's ability to resupply Hezbollah in Lebanon and get them the resources they needed to fight the Israelis. Also, when al-Shara took power, he kicked all the IRGC components out of Syria. So the axis of resistance was effectively disrupted and dismantled because now you have Bashar al-Assad gone. You have Hezbollah, disarray. All of their management, all of their higher-ups, gone, dead, assassinated. Fuad Shukr, Hassan Nasrallah, the most important ones. Hamas, disrupted and dismantled. Ismail Haniyeh, gone, right? Yahya Sinwar, gone. Okay, Bashar al-Assad, fled. Well, now you guys can see that with all of these people out of position and the Houthis getting bombed by the United States once Trump took office, what's left? Well, I'll tell you what's left. Iran is left. This is why the Israelis wanted to attack when they did. All of their enemies were weakened. All of them. And none of them can mount a proper response to Israel at this point. That, my friends, is what led Israel to attacking Iran a couple of days ago. Okay? Because all of these assassinations, all of these military operations, all of these clandestine operations were to put Israel in the perfect position where Iran's allies and the axis of resistance were all weakened. Now they can attack the source directly. Okay? And that's how we find ourselves in the middle of this conflict right now. Give me O/slashes if that all made sense to you guys. I know it's a long explanation, and I went over a lot, but now you guys understand how the fuck we got here.
Price was no object. As a thief, things had no price. So if you need advice on
give me
handling,
O/slashes if that all
I'm
makes
not
sense
the
for you
best
guys.
person to ask.
All right, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I hope, I was trying to make it simple and easy to understand, and I wanted to show you guys visually with the map. I'm glad that it makes sense. All right, cool. Awesome. Let's get back into the Twitter space. Now you guys officially know more than 90% of Americans when it comes to Middle Eastern foreign policy, and now you guys understand why the Israelis desperately wanted to go to war. All of their enemies were weakened, and this is their best chance to go at Iran. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love to see you guys, like, learning stuff in the chat and enjoying the content. If you guys really want to support me, join the Castle Club. Join the OSS. Well, join Castle Club too. But link is pinned at the top, guys. Only $4 to join. If you guys want me to be able to continue to give you guys this kind of content, and me dedicate my time to like being able to research this stuff, that obviously takes me a lot of time to do. I'm reading stuff all the time. I'm watching lots of documentaries. I've pretty much given my social life up to make this content for you guys. The only thing I ask in return is you guys like the video if you're watching on YouTube, because YouTube has me demonetized. And then number two, join the OSS. Only $4 to join, guys, for less than a fucking super chat. It goes to $10 after your first month, or you can join for the year. Use promo code JFK911 or use themboys911, whichever one you want to use, and join the fucking fight so we can go ahead and get to 10K strong, so I can continue to give you guys this kind of content, because obviously this shit is censored and it got me fucking demonetized. So yeah, I appreciate you guys helping me out with this, man. I really do. And the OSS is growing stronger by the day. But if you can't afford to support, that's fine. Just smash the like button on YouTube. And yeah, let's get to 4,000 likes. Anyway, let's keep going. Let's go ahead to
keep your distance.
Let's go back to Twitter and get the latest on what's going on.
Where did he convert to Islam? And so there's some nefarious points that this guy converts to Islam, and then he becomes one of the biggest narrators of what became some aspect of the legal tradition and some of the extreme positions that you find within Islam. And so when you understand that these people were able to direct that, and then within Christianity you've got the Schofield Bible, and you've got certain evangelical ideas, and I don't agree with your position on X. They will lose their mind because ideology is more important. They'll back, as an example, they'll back Israel over Iran based on ideology. And so ideology dictates so much. And so, but anyway, that's a separate point. So those are the few points I wanted to make. I'll get back on the news, but got me excited in a bit of a discussion now.
All right, I just give a quick point. I completely agree that ideology drives human behavior, and that's what a lot of people at the top will utilize those ideologies in order to drive the human behavior for the motive that they're trying to achieve. And in most cases, particularly when you're dealing with Western corporations, there is a profit motive, and power equals money. And so they will utilize any type of ideology in order to drive people into the behavior that drives the profits for those corporations. So Zionism is a useful ideology, Islam is a useful ideology, Christianity is a useful ideology, and you can recruit an army and get them to do inhumane things by making them believe that they're doing, by weaponizing their ideology. And people at the top have always done that. That's why you have all these institutions that take an ideology that need funding, and then that can become a weaponized ideology.
Can I jump in, Suleiman, just to give?
All right, let me read some of these chats here. Thanks for all the value you provide. Been following your advice. I'm 25 years old. Oh yeah, yep, got you. I read that chat from before. Let me make sure I didn't miss any of you guys here. Okay, $5 from eMoney says, hey John, how do we gift memberships? That is a good question. There's a way to gift memberships on OSS. I just don't know how to do it. Also killed Muhammad El Daif. Okay, I appreciate that, Faris. Marin, what do you know about Yahya Sinwar? Yeah, I know a lot about Yahya Sinwar. He was the head of the military wing of Hamas. Do the Israel-Palestine breakdown, Marin? I'm just trying to JPO my parents since I'm over for Father's Day. Oh man, I don't know if you want to do that, Joe Schmo. So yeah, starts going in strong for Israel. How long before Russia will come help Iran, and what does that look like? I don't know if Russia will come help Iran. They didn't help Syria, bro. So I don't know if they will, bro. But yeah, John, I'll find a way. There is a way to gift. Memberships on the OSS. I just don't know how to do it. I'll figure it out though for you guys. I will figure it out. I'll hit up Noble.
Simon's trying to explain. They're kind of used more like a shield than anything else, but they do things on their own, 100%. The problem that what me and Simon do agree on is once you get rid of that, which you do need to get rid of, you still have a big issue in America, and it comes down to the capitalistic system. Is the amount of money that is getting printed now at the velocity that it's getting printed, and you go look at the M2 money supply and you see the upward hockey stick that's being printed, you can get a better job. You can still believe in the American dream. Most people within the next 2-3 years, they will see their quality of life diminish unless they have millions in assets already. Because once you start printing, people with assets, their value goes up, and people without them, their value goes down. And there's going to be no middle class, and what will wind up happening is the same thing you see in Brazil, Ethiopia, Mexico. You basically live in your own little citadel, and everyone else lives outside like slaves. And that's what eventually will happen in the United States if you don't understand how to invest. Why do the Jews get such a bad name? It's not because of a religion. It's because they are the only group of people, Suleiman, you, me growing up as a Christian, Myron, I don't know how you grew up, or Simon, but probably all of us always heard, you need to work really hard for your money, son. You need to get a good job and just work really hard and move your way up. That's not how you become rich. We were taught wrong. Most Jewish kids are taught to save money, and that's why a lot of Americans make jokes that Jews are penny pinchers, blah, 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 they're always cheap. They're not cheap, they're saving, because that's what they're taught as a little kid. Save your money and invest. Put your money to work for you. They're taught that from a very, very young age. So they've benefited greatly from this capitalistic system, not because they created it, but because they understand it, because they're kind of the ones who started it, right? And that is the problem, is although once you get rid of Zionism and that whole, let's call it extreme nationalism, because that's basically what it is, right? Once you get rid of extreme nationalism, you still have the money problem in the US. And the money problem is not because things are the same as they used to be and they could be corrected. No, it is the amount of money that needs to be printed, because we have no way out of just continuing to print more money than we did the last 4-year cycle. And we're getting to the point where no matter how hard you work, you will never be the middle class, and you'll never make it to the wealthy. You will only see your quality of life drop. And today, you can see people in the middle that are upper middle, that are living paycheck to paycheck. Upper middle class, dude, my dad worked construction. My mother was a secretary. They had 2 houses, 2 cars, and a boat. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen today. No way, no how. And that's because of the amount of money that's printed, and they were taught to work hard instead of save everything you can and invest it. And that's what the main big problem is. And Jews will benefit because they're taught to, from a very young age, to do what exactly to do. A lot of them, not all of them. Simon, is that pretty much like a
wait? Hold on, I just posted.
Answer? I think that was a very good summary, and I'm gonna jump off now, but I'll leave some final parting words, and we'll bring this one up again. But it was a very good summary. The only way you beat the system is to own assets that beat the system. and save, and everyone else is working for those people and not saving, they're taking.
Yeah, no, it's all good, E-Money. I'll find out how to give memberships, bro. I'll find out. I just messaged Noble, and I'll figure that out for you guys on how to gift, because I know some people want to join the OSS, but they might not have money, and some other people can gift them. Some other people that are a bit more financially secure. So I'll find a way to do it. But either way, we almost got 1,000 total members in there, guys. Remember, you guys can join OSS completely for free and then decide to convert to a paying member after. So, you know, you guys can always join the OSS, watch on there completely for free. I'll give you guys the link if you guys want, so you guys can watch the stream from there. It's hilarious, the chat, what they be saying in there. I'll give you guys the link so you guys can watch there if you guys want. And then if you decide that you want to go ahead and subscribe and join the OSS to be a paying member, put in your dues, that'd be great. Here's the link for you guys if you guys want to watch the stream there, though. The chat is hilarious in itself. The chat is what makes it worth it.
The actual numbers are much higher. The source is Israeli media, and that's up to them. That's, guys, please don't forget to like and retweet it or comment underneath it, and please don't forget to retweet the space as well. And Simon, but I'm not going to do the back and forth, right? And but now sometimes I understand why. No, I already understand why. Like, it's like, who created the Ponzi scheme? But we'll leave it at that. I want to be clear. I'm a little bit radical. Who do we owe the money to? Print it. People print it, so then you know what? People need to learn how to capitalize in this system, and I think that people can learn how to do it. I mean, there's so many people who I know who do it now. They're doing it now, so that's why when I come back to the ideology of Zionism that's been around for a long time, that's the ideology that it's not just about the money, that genocides people, and then other people worship the people who genocide them. It's not about, oh, Jews have money. What? I don't care. I've been to Jewish weddings and bar mitzvahs. I'm glad they have money. I don't care. But maybe it's because I'm a Christian. I'm not going to get theological, but for me, it's completely anti-Christ. And it has subverted this so-called Christian nation. So they can't pay attention to what's going on with the money schemes or anything else going on. They've been so subverted, and that is not an excuse. It's just simply an explanation. That's all I'll say. I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Casey, the big problem is who younger people idolize, right? Like,
and
you go to Dubai,
saved
and you
countless
see
lives, and we are grateful.
All right, this is Waltz
Bureau of Criminal
talking.
Apprehension will continue to investigate and deal with our political differences. Now's the time for us to recommit to the core values of this country. And each and every one of us can do it. Talk to a neighbor rather than arguing. Debate an issue. Shake hands. Find common ground. This is who Melissa Hortman was. In the first negotiating session that I had a chance to work with her, she got all the partners in the room, and she provided each and every one of us a copy of a book called Getting to Yes. And the whole premise was debating with a sense of goodwill, a sense of trying to come to compromises that serve everyone. And because of her, we did that. Because of her, we did that year after year after year. That's the embodiment of how things are supposed to work. It's not about hatred. It's not about mean tweets. It's not about demeaning someone. It's leading with grace and compassion and vision and compromise and decency. That was taken from us in Minnesota.
Bro said, why is the black woman talking to, please tell her to shut up. Yo, Martin, hope you missed me. Just finished work. Easy cheese if you prayed for me. Got you, bro.
With the murder of Speaker Hortman. So for each and every one of us to truly honor, and we will continue to honor that spirit, but we will need to do it in just more than actions in a memorial. Conducting ourselves in the spirit that Melissa Hortman did her work is what the country needs to heal. I will once again say,
bro, this baldy bitch look crazy, bro.
The deep debt of gratitude. These professionals standing behind us and countless others. This was
shout out Mr. Hooligan with the 35 with the 5 gifted subs, bro. Appreciate you, my friend. And Rock and Roll Rebel as well with the gifted sub as well. Guys, I think what I might do is I might play some Marvel Rivals with Chris to end the stream off, and we'll go to kick only. But we're gonna finish covering the news before we do that.
You'll hear from them. Incredibly complex. And to take this
only kick and OSS stream will be live.
Suspect in.
I'll get off YouTube and Rumble.
With no life of life or injuries to civilian population, and to bring him in alive so he can serve justice, which he will do in Minnesota, is an incredible thing that we are grateful for. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the professionals, starting with Commissioner of Public Safety for the state of Minnesota, Bob Jacobson. Thank you.
Good evening. It's good to see you all here tonight. Thank you for coming in. My name is Bob Jacobson. I'm the Commissioner of Public Safety. And again, it's my honor to serve in that position. First of all, I want to thank all of the law enforcement agencies that have been working tirelessly over the past 2 years since the shooting.
Guys, smash the like button. We're only at 3,600 likes, but we got 4,000 plus of you guys in here. So smash that fucking like button. We're watching the press conference about the guy that was caught after shooting a lawmaker out in Minnesota.
At Senator Hoffman's home. The coordination between state, local, and federal law enforcement partners is the reason we are here tonight, and the suspect is in custody. Bolter exploited the trust our uniforms are meant to represent. That betrayal is deeply disturbing to those of us who wear the badge with honor and responsibility. We want to thank community members across the state for their support, for their tips, and their information. And I want to thank Governor Walz for his continued support through this very difficult time. With that, I will pass this off to Superintendent Drew Evans of the BCA. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Drew Evans. I'm Superintendent of the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. As was noted and was previously described, Vance Bolter was taken into custody in Sibley County. We were with you earlier today when we provided information about the manhunt and the myriad of law enforcement that have come together working in partnership so that this evil cannot be continued. The first step in a case like this is that we take him into custody, and then the work will continue and begin to make sure that we have all the evidence we need to ensure that he is held accountable for his crimes. Please bear with me, but I think it's important because it has been noted by the governor, just to give you some background on the teams that were down there, and I may even be missing some in terms of this because there were law enforcement partners, not just from the Twin Cities, but across the state of Minnesota that came together. From the Brooklyn Park Police Department, the Tri-City SWAT Team, Eagan Police Department, Burnsville Police Department, our South Metro SWAT Team, the FBI, ATF, United States Marshal Service, State Patrol, Washington County Sheriff's Office, Ramsey County Sheriff's Office, the Richfield Police Department, St. Paul Police Department, Bloomington Police Department, Sibley County. We had Riverview Medics, Green Isle Fire Department, and Lifelink in the area, in addition to Prior Lake, Crow River SWAT, and the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office. And again, I may have been missing, and I apologize to my partners for that we do that. I share all of that for you because that's the commitment when this sort of evil is in one of our communities, that law enforcement comes together to put all of their resources together to make sure that that person is taken into custody. That is so that people across the state of Minnesota and legislators that were targeted in these attacks and that may have been listed can breathe a sigh of relief as quickly as possible as we came together in an incredibly complex set of circumstances in that. He was arrested, as you saw earlier this evening, in the area of 35600 block of 200th Street, Green Isle. What happened in that is, as we noted, there was a manhunt going throughout the day in that area that we've discussed previously, and there was information provided that he was seen in the area. When that information was provided to the investigators that were conducting the ground search, they converged on the area with a number of SWAT teams with the assistance of the Air Wing from Minnesota State Patrol, and we'll provide a few more details about the end of coming into custody in a little bit, but he was taken into custody at that time. He is in custody, and a reminder for anybody that was not when we've previously said that, taken into custody under a state criminal warrant.
Okay, that's what I was gonna figure out if it's a federal or a state case.
That information will be made public, if it is not already, detailing the complaint that he is charged in the cases at this time with the murders of Speaker Hortman and her husband, Mark Hortman.
They're gonna do federal.
Can't wish that, but you know, if there was maybe if it went off course and an accident happened, I wouldn't be disappointed. That thief, the one who came up with, well, if I don't steal it, someone else will. That guy's a special type of asshole.
Well, if I don't fire a ballistic missile, someone else will.
Myron, are you there? No, I might not be there.
Maybe.
Go ahead, Casey.
No, I was just saying maybe he's like streaming on the other end or whatever. But yeah, I'm listening to you.
Yeah, I mean, look, this was a massive devastation. I was shook at how big it was. It was huge. I remember hiding a lot of the devastation that occurred. So in reality, things are going to be significantly worse.
Which still scares me a little bit because these people are like crazy. I know we already sent how many tankers? Go ahead, Nathan. You got something to say?
Yeah, that's my biggest concern.
Yeah, and then Lord.
Sorry, I'm just gonna add some context to what you guys said. There's also 2 blackouts, military blackouts on 2 of the sites that were hit as well.
So it's just crazy. I'm just concerned because, like, when people in Laura Loomer and the rest of them are saying about the something big's coming, it does concern you. Because the US has moved, 24 Air Force tankers eastward in an unprecedented surge, far beyond any NATO exercise like Trident Juncture. So basically, previously, the Trident Juncture moved only 6 to 8 tankers. Sometimes it would be 10 to 15, but this isn't. But the fact that there's 24, and I think Joe mentioned it, that's how many you would need. Took over the whole of Iran, is highly concerning.
That was your decision.
21 of the aerial refueling tankers, 12 KG-135s and 4 KC-46s, are airborne over the US, moving eastward alongside multiple Gulfstream command and control and VIP transport aircraft. It's highly concerning. I mean, is Israel, like, is the US about to go to war for Israel? Is Trump about to betray his base and betray the anti-war movement? Is him being on the Epstein file the reason for this? What?
Okay, so can I ask, and it's probably a dumb question, but I'm not going to act like I know about bombs and tankers and everything. So this isn't my areas of expertise, and maybe some of the audience might be confused. Those jets, what can they do? I mean, can't they just like only refuel, or like they can bomb from? Can somebody just, describe it a little bit for me? Because I don't know. Anyone?
Yeah, them things are basically to refuel and also to bomb more people.
Okay, so that's basically okay. Because I was just like hoping it was only refuel, but yeah, that's how they're gaslighting us then.
No. What he's saying is that they refuel the planes that do the bombing. They don't carry no bombs.
Okay, I'm bringing Hassan up as well because I think he's a bit disappointed about what he saw over the last few hours. So, Truth, take it easy on him.
When is he not disappointed?
Take it easy on who? What?
Hassan, because I heard he's disappointed with what he saw in the last few hours.
Just not enough, it's only 40 missiles or whatever Israel said, because Israel media never lies.
Hassan, what's your thoughts about what you saw?
I'm not sure if it was a dream or if it was actually real. I don't know. There's some videos. I've seen so many of them. They're pretty good.
Are you disappointed?
Not at all.
He's trying to be different.
Wow, the damage and destruction was so bad
in the sense of it, they destroyed so much. Even Hassan,
Suleiman, he's
even
become
Hassan
an
got moved.
anti-Semite now. Look at that, huh? He went from
Yeah,
Jew
bro.
lover to anti-Semite, just like that.
He's just shook, bro. He's like converted. It's his epiphany, his red pill moment. Anyway, Hassan, jump in. What's your thoughts? What did you want to speak about?
Oh, I just joined now and listening into what all you guys are saying, really. And
Oh, you requested. That's why I brought you up.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It was kind of I wasn't expecting to be speaking so soon, so I was just going to listen back for a few minutes first.
Oh, did you just request now?
Yeah, only just came up now.
Oh, you looked out then, because I just now decided to start looking in the panel. Okay, Abu Sitta, thanks for joining. What's your thoughts? Abu Sitta? Guys, if you're requesting, if you do me a favor, only request a question.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah. How's it going?
Not bad. I've been following the space for a couple of days. You guys got some good insights. One thing I didn't hear you guys mention is that, did you hear how Russia found some connection between the Israeli drone operation in Tehran? They found some like commonalities between that operation and the one against their strategic bombers, and because of that, it changed Russia's role in this war, where now they're helping Iran with satellite and coordinates and a bunch of different things. They've upped their level of strategic help to Iran because of that, because they feel that Israel had a hand in the operation against their strategic bombers.
Just out of
Just putting that out.
curiosity, do you have a source for some of this? I can't see who it is, by the way, because of a big glitch, but if you have a source, if you could share it, that would be good.
Yeah, that's from Alexander Mercury from the Duran. I don't know if you guys follow him. That was in his latest analysis on the situation. I'll post it in the nest.
Post it in the comments. I'm sorry, because yeah.
Yeah, please don't post it in the bubble up top. Just post it in the nest, please. Or you can send it to me in a DM, sorry, if you want.
So we have a special tweet on the top in the nest says, if Trump goes to war with Iran for Israel, he's definitely on the Epstein list. Well, get ready to say he's on the Epstein list, because I know that's going to happen. So
Elon already did.
My biggest concern now, though, that is America is going to get dragged in the way things are going.
Just what I do, Hassan and Myron, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up? I just got back.
Yeah, just a quick question. What's your thoughts about what you saw today? This was a massive destruction, massive devastation. A, what's your thoughts on that? And B, what's your thoughts on these refueling tankers moving to the Middle East? It seems like America's joining the war.
Yeah, man, it's I kind of foresaw this, right? We all know that Israel can't really defend itself as much as they claim that they can. We'll see what happens. Well, we'll really see what happens here. But Israel, I think they're starting to understand that they bit off a bit more than they can chew. They underestimated the Iranians' capability of hitting them hard back at home, and that's what's going on right now. These hypersonic missiles are fucking them up, and they didn't really have an answer for it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here, man. I think a war, us getting involved in a war, would be highly unpopular. But at this point, man, Trump is owned by the Jews, so we'll see what happens.
I mean, if Trump goes to war, does that destroy MAGA? Because what made MAGA, I would say, unique as a movement was its kind of America first, more nationalistic, anti-war, anti-establishment perspective. I think that's what made it unique, especially when you found all of those within the right wing. That's basically the end of MAGA, right?
Well, it's definitely caused a split in it, right? You got the people that are what I call like, the Zio retards, right? That will sit there and say Israel's our greatest ally, which is a good portion of them. And then you do have some people on the right that are critical of Israel and understand that Israel's a parasite that leeches on the United States. I would argue more people are pro-Israel and retarded, but people are slowly waking up on the right with this stuff. But yeah, they use stupid terms like the woke right or far right. They use these pejorative terms to try to insult conservatives that are critical of Israel, because it's typically not a popular stance to be critical of Israel while being a conservative. Most conservatives absolutely shill for Israel, especially big conservative commentators in America. I think besides like maybe me and Nick Fuentes, I think everybody else, or at least that have popular video type long form content podcasts, almost all of them shill for Israel. So, we'll see what happens though. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's concerning. It's concerning. I mean, what? Let's say America joins into this war. How do you think it goes?
Well, if we did join, one of the number one things they would need us for is to basically bomb this nuclear facility that's in a mountain. But that could create problems for us as well, because you'd have to obviously plan the mission, fuel the mission, find the right people to do it without getting caught on radar. I know we have some stealth B-2 bombers, but it would be a very risky operation, and then that would almost guarantee an Iranian retaliation where they would hit our military bases, and a lot of our armed forces are sitting ducks in the Gulf. They don't even have an Iron Dome to protect them over there, so they would get hit directly with these drones and missiles. So, do we really want to risk thousands of military servicemen in the Gulf for Israel? And I think that's where we have to have a really tough discussion. Where is it really worth it, right? We're in the middle of protests all across the United States with what's going on with ICE. We have lots of problems here at home. Is it really worth it to start another war in the Middle East and kind of go down the same path that the Bush administration did for Israel? And I would argue that trying to start a war now, because that would absolutely start a war, bombing their nuclear facility in this mountain. Is it really worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And I would argue no, and most Americans would probably agree with me. Even the fucking conservatives that likes Israel, they would even know that a war with Iran would be extremely unpopular.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about like where this goes, America joins the war with Israel. You basically have America helping Israel bomb them. This becomes like American targets in the Middle East become fair game. A lot of American lives being lost, lots of Iranian lives being lost, less so Israelis because they're going to be under protection. So essentially, it's Americans putting their lives in their hands on the line for the Israelis, right?
Yeah.
The Iraqi
Iraqi
bases would get wiped out as well, huh?
Yeah, sorry, Marin, go ahead. I don't know what you said.
No, I think he was saying something. No, I mean, yeah, going to war, and the other thing too that we kind of benefit from is social media nowadays. Back in 2003 when we had the Iraq war, we had to rely on Fox, CNN, MSNBC. We had to rely on the mainstream media platforms, and they basically indoctrinated us and told us the lies, and there was no counter narrative, right? When Netanyahu famously was in the Capitol talking about how Saddam was making nuclear weapons, all this other shit, there was no alternative media to really challenge that. Yeah, Alex Jones was around, but it didn't have the same level of reach like now. But thanks to social media and alternative media, people are able to get the truth or get different perspectives. And I think that has been really helpful with people understanding what's going on in the Middle East and how we've been kind of duped by Israel for a very long time to fight their wars for them. So the U.S. government would not have the same immunity to the narrative that they had 20 years ago, right? Now with social media, the rise of social media and alternative platforms, it's very difficult for them to pull the wool over eyes now versus 20 years ago.
I agree with you completely. And and the thing is, like, if you look at the polls in the United States of America, the vast majority of people see Israel in a very negative way. So and then that's the entirety of America. I obviously know the left, it's even more so. Under 50s is a huge amount. Now, like, when people hear stories about Israel and how, they did the USS Liberty, they killed JFK, they did 9/11. Historically, when people think about things, it doesn't have the same emotional impact as when it's happening in real time in front of you. If American sort is that the American kids are losing their lives for the Israelis. I think could be the close to the end of Israel in terms of support from America. What do you think?
Absolutely, Iraq was a monumental failure, right? And now, 20 years later, we can finally look back and reflect and realize, not again. Like this is fucking retarded. Why the hell did we go here? And the thing is, when we invaded Iraq in 2003, we bombed them for like 3 weeks first. Then we sent the ground troops in, and we sent in like 200,000 people. Well, Iran is bigger. They have a bigger military. They have more mountainous regions. Like, it's going to be significantly harder to get a regime change in Iran. Damn near impossible. So, so for us to be able to effectively do this regime change like what Israel wants, damn near impossible. And we'd need to put boots on the ground, and that would be highly unpopular, highly, highly unpopular.
Yeah, it's crazy. Do jump in with whatever you want, Myron. Appreciate you being on as always. And guys, do give Myron a follow. Go to his profile and give a follow. He does the biggest, like, a huge Rumble, YouTube, kick shows. Got a huge account. Has a huge amount of engagement. Do give him a follow. Click on his profile and click on follow, guys. Amazing, amazing guy.
Appreciate that, man. I stream everywhere, guys. Kick, YouTube, Rumble. Even though YouTube is fucking lame, I hate YouTube with a passion. Zionist controlled. They fucking demonetized me for talking about this shit. So yeah, man, Rumble and Kick is where it's at.
I was streaming on Kick for a bit, and probably if I go back to streaming, I'll do it. But the concern was with Kick that they basically don't let you talk about politics that much. Have you had any issues yet?
No, man, no. You could talk politics on there. It's just that Kick is not known for politics. Like, there's very few political commentators on Kick. I mean, I know Osmongold's on there. He just came. I'm on there now. But in general, man, there's like, Kick is mostly gambling and, IRL streams, not much higher IQ political discussion on there. So there's definitely a market there, man, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I started doing it. And actually, we were getting decent numbers, I think, on Kick. So yeah, there is definitely an opportunity there. For sure. Yeah, so guys, do give Myron a follow. Myron, do jump in with what you want. I'm just gonna let some other people speak, so I cannot speak. I'm getting a bit tired, to be honest. It's like 5-6 a.m. here. But appreciate you, Myron. And guys, do give him a follow. Guys, amazing. And actually, do give everyone on the panel a follow. Everyone's been contributing amazingly to this. So I appreciate every single person on the panel who's been helping, supporting the space. It's been fire. Let me just move this. Let me check, bro. Emmy, you there? Thanks for joining us.
Can I jump in quickly since no one else is talking?
Yeah, please do, bro.
So it seems at the moment Iran is still kind of treading the line between like inflicting a lot of pain on the entity and drawing in America. I think it seems to be obviously that's what's going on. And is there an opportunity to finish them right now, or is this the right tactic? I think that's a question that's in my head.
Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean to finish them?
So what I'm saying is, if America isn't yet ready to go to war, and is going to go to war, is it better to go all in now, or to continue at this rate?
All right, let's see here. We got some chats here. E-Money said, love you're the best, Myron, and let you know how to give those memberships so we can get some more people in. Okay, I appreciate that, E-Money. Noble sent me a message on how to do it. Who's trying to gift on locals, Mr. Hooligan? I'll figure it out. Kumo DTV says they're saying the planes headed east are part of the Atlantic Trident exercise that lasts several days. I believe it's in Finland. Okay.
The problem with that is, Myron.
Right, so people are saying these American planes on their way to the Atlantic. This comes from Kumo TV. Here's a tweet right here. You guys can take a look at that.
Myron, can you hear us?
Someone calling on you to speak on Spaces. Yep. Sorry about that. Do Monkey, when you go on Kick, you don't need to download it, just the website, or call Coffin or Cheeser. I don't have their numbers.
I'm gonna mute. I don't think you can hear us.
Poppin7. I don't have their numbers.
Poor bastards better off.
Yeah, about those tankers, guys. From my understanding, normally when they do the tankers, it's a lot less. It's like about 6 to 7, maybe 10 or 15, depending on when it is. So the fact that there's 26, I believe, that's significant. Joe, when you mentioned that there's Joe, are you there?
What happened?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, you mentioned that the 26 tankers can basically cover the whole of Iran. Do you want to explain that a bit more to the audience?
Yeah, they were basically what I looked. I just went onto AI and said, why would they use 26? Why would you need 26 refueling planes? And it basically said that's pretty average for an operation. I go, what about the operation in Iran? Like, well, that would give planes air superiority. That's about the amount you would need to give air superiority to your Air Force. So I think that's what they're doing, so they can try to take down some of these things early. I don't know if you could take down like the ballistics. Maybe you could take down faster if you're over top of Iran and you're not waiting for it to get to.
They can outpace the ballistic. I think what they might attempt to do is to use those B2s or B52s to try to drop bunker busters repeatedly on the same spot,
But that would be an
hoping to dent
American
it
plane,
further.
right?
Yeah,
Because
well, that's
Israel
what
doesn't have those.
I know. Well, they want America to strike at the nuclear facilities that they're not able to access.
Yeah, I just don't
They've
know if
already
they
admitted
will.
they can't damage the nuclear sites. They've admitted it now.
Sorry, guys. I didn't realize I was unmuted. I'm sorry about that. My bad.
No, all good, all good. We were just answering the question that one of your chatters asked.
Yeah, so two scenarios, Solomon. One is if they're just giving support to Israel, then it's just for their fighter jets. But then to Truth's point, if they actually get involved in an attack, yeah, that would be able to fuel the planes they need to bomb military sites. But it's not some crazy amount. It's not like some I hear 26 and I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. It's not. They say it's quite average for this type of operation. We still have no confirmation on Khomeini, right? So that's probably false. That report.
Yeah, it's false. I checked a couple sites. They're just there is an attempt at best. That's it. I was just
They
thinking
blew
over.
up his house or something.
I don't have exact information because I've seen more than one variation of the story. So I'll reserve judgment until I know more. Oh, the point I was going to make is Iran's got a lot of decoys. So, yes, they've been trying to strike the nuclear facilities, so they think, and that's what Iran wants them to think. It's a great strategy. So I don't know what information America may have if they say enter the war and want to strike the nuclear facilities or something else, maybe the missile. And they've been gathering data this whole time, so it's really a question of what they think they know and what they're going to try to hit, and whether it'll be an effective hit or not. It's still unlikely, given that all the facilities are more than half a kilometer under the Earth's surface. And Iran's also mixing it up. Like, they launched their missiles from different locations this time. They went from the east. So, and they have mobile platforms where they launch from. So that's what it's been detected from satellites. So they state. So there's unpredictability with what they're doing. And then there's the question of if America gets involved, do Russia and China or Pakistan or anyone else get involved more directly? I don't know.
I feel like that would happen. I feel like that's like an unwritten agreement, between China and Russia,
Well, Russia will definitely provide all the access to military intel, spy satellite info, and all that. But will they put up their own bomber? They have bombers too, right?
Who knows? I mean, but I feel like it's, again, some unwritten agreement. Because, like, if we have other kind of, like, dealings together and stuff like that, these three are kind of like an asset to each other. But I mean, I am not the one making the decisions, but I always thought this is how it would kick off like a World War III. So God forbid, but yeah.
Michael, you want to comment? Haven't seen you in a while.
What's up, man? Yeah, I'm looking up the C-17s, but I'm pretty sure, based off the 100th ARW for the refueling, that they're going to that event from June 16th to the 27th. So I got to check all the tags to see if all 24 that you guys are mentioning are part of that same regiment. But I think they are going to that NATO event, the Trident.
Yeah, but normally, like when they normally do this as a normal yearly thing or whatever it is, it's normally about 7 to 15 tankers. Why is it 26?
Yeah, I was looking at that. I'm trying to find them on Flight Radar to see if all 24 are from the same regiment. But those ones are scheduled to go to that event.
They brought him.
But I agree with you.
They brought him in for that botched parade for Trump. That's all.
You didn't like the parade?
No, I'm just saying that's the extra that you're talking about. Like, don't read too much into it. Firepower of the United States in the Middle East is significant. It doesn't need any reinforcement whatsoever. It is able to take out any country, multiple countries in the Middle East in one shot.
Yeah, right, buddy. No, they can't. I don't know what are you smoking these days with one shot.
Well, no, let him explain why he says that. Why do you say that?
No, I think it's interesting. Look, is what we wish for, what we want, and then somewhat reality. The problem that you're seeing right now is that Israel is softening the landscape for America and NATO, and it's doing quite an extensive job at it. They're flying over the airspace freely. Now it's a freeway.
Sorry, where's
there.
where's that happening? Are you just trolling right now?
No.
Okay, so which airspace are they flying over?
Iran.
Which part of Iran?
Literally the capital.
So they're in Tehran, really? And you have proof of this?
Yeah.
Most of those strikes are from drones that were already in Tehran.
Let's see your proof. You're aware that 3 F-35s have been shot down successfully, right?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, if you think that Israel isn't...
Where's your proof? Where's your proof they're flying over Tehran?
I'll send it out. There is a lot of evidence and proof.
Besides stealth medical, real proof.
Forget stealth medical.
Okay, because that's a bunch of bullshit. Nobody's reported that that's credible. But you believe anything anyway, so you've always been gullible.
Okay. Well.
So if they're flying over the airspace, why didn't they stop this new missile salvo that just came and destroyed Haifa and Tel Aviv? What's going on?
Dude, the success rate of what's coming down on Israel is approximately not even over 1%. Okay. Let alone 2. The calculation doesn't even go over 2%.
Hold on.
All right. So of course there is. If you go by statistics, if you go by statistics,
40 missiles. So how many of them landed? How many of them landed?
If you go by statistics.
Yeah, let's go by statistics. Let's do the numbers right now. Israel claims 40 missiles were launched from Iran. How many of them landed?
Over 10. That's
No.
than
Let him.
1%.
He's smart. He said less than 1%. So how many, Mo? You're so smart. Let's go.
I think a lot of people can see
I'm still
the strikes
waiting,
that
Mo.
are
Can you
coming
do the
in.
numbers for me? You said 1%. So what divided by 40 equals 1%? Go ahead.
It's 4,
You're a
dude.
stats guy. He said, let's look at the numbers and the data. Let's go. What are you struggling over there? Pull out your calculator.
Again, I don't see the point
So
of
I haven't
your.
seen evidence, and you can't do the math either. So you're still a fucking retard. Nothing's changed. Welcome to
Dude.
the space.
Truth, he said
Dude,
4.
yeah,
He got confused
So I
between
haven't
1%
seen any
and
proof that they're
10%.
flying over Tehran. It's 1% accuracy rate, and I guess.
No, I think it's a lot more than 40. There's a lot.
You've become a
There's a
fucking
lot.
Zionist. You've literally become a Zionist.
There's a lot more than 40. There's a lot more than 40 missiles being shot into occupied territories. That's for sure.
Where did they land?
The amount of success,
Okay, where did they land?
the success rate is pretty dismal, to say the least. If
You
if
said
and if we
four.
want,
You said 4 out of 40. That's 10%, right? It's not
no,
one. Is it?
again, it's a lot more
And
than
that's
40 missiles. There's a lot more than 40 missiles
but
being
Israel's
struck
saying
onto the
40.
territories.
Israel's saying how
There's
many?
a lot more.
How
There's a
many?
lot
Okay.
more than
Oh, so
40. I think we
how
could. I
many?
think we could clarify that, and very
How can you
easily.
clarify that with what? Do you have evidence?
So besides
You don't
you,
have evidence. You're just pulling numbers out of your
besides
ass
you
again. As
actually
usual, you
speaking
come here
over.
with no evidence, no posts, no dives, no nothing. You're just full of shit as usual.
Once you're done, I would like
You
to
still take
communicate.
yourself.
If you,
Do you still take yourself seriously, or are you just trolling?
once you're done, let me know so I can
I think you're
communicate.
done. I don't know why you're here. I'm not sure why you're
I,
here. Just
I
to waste
come
people's
to I
time,
come
to
to
lower
just
the
give
IQ of the
I give a
conversation.
little bit of feedback. I like the hopium.
No, you come to
I'm
insult
with you.
people's
We're on
intelligence.
the
You think you're the smartest guy there.
we're
Why don't
on
you
the
go do
same
like you said last time?
side.
Go count.
We're
Go
on the
count. No, we're
same
not on the same side. We're not on.
side
We've
when
never
it
been
comes
on the same side.
to
You're still a
hopium.
simp. Okay?
100%.
Go count your
We're
shekels. Go count your
definitely
shekels. Remember that's what
definitely
you
on the
bragged
same
about?
side when it
Because
comes
you
to
still
hopium.
think the U.S. economy
But
is
at the
great.
end
You
of the
still
day,
invest in
there's
U.S.
a reality.
stocks. Look, you're still a Starbucks guy.
There's a reason why the axis of resistance hasn't activated whatsoever. There's a reason why who's engaged and how they are engaged. There is a lot of security broken down in Iran as we speak, and they are struggling to maintain their civilian infrastructure, let alone military or other security infrastructures. They're concerned that
see
the
some
people will
evidence?
revolt. They're concerned.
Or I'm just
They are
hearing a
concerned.
lot
There's
of
a lot of
vague language.
evidence.
Like,
There's a
where's the
lot
evidence?
of
Where is
evidence.
it?
Can I ask you a question, Mo?
Again, just can I finish? Can I finish?
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
Making a lot of big claims. I haven't seen any evidence.
Yeah, one sec, True. So,
Go ahead.
as far as you're concerned, right, up to now, what is your assessment on
No, Nathan, let them both go. I wanna hear this.
I think from the question, I think that Iran's airspace has been breached significantly. I think the question is whether they throw in a Hail Mary or they don't. We've been at these junctures multiple times. So on the 7th of October, the golden opportunity was in 48 to 72 hours. None of the Axis decided to take it. They decided to go with the whole patience and so on and so forth when that was a very golden opportunity.
To do that, Mo.
The debate here is Iran actually gonna go in with the Hail Mary? Because at the end of the day,
for Israel to attack them like proper for them to be able to do that, right? They have to make.
Well, they are.
Is the Hail Mary the right strategy? It's a war of attrition.
You don't think
this is a war of attrition?
Well, we keep saying war of attrition, and then they took out significant leadership in the Axis, right? They took out significant infrastructure, and again, it goes back to that point. If you don't use it, you're gonna lose it. And there was a lot of ammunition that's been lost.
Significant, like what?
There's a significant amount of ammunition that's been lost that could have been utilized.
They produced that ammunition.
I'm still waiting for you to say which significant infrastructure was taken out.
Half of South Lebanon is occupied
about South Lebanon.
by
We're talking about Iran. You said
Israeli troops.
Infrastructure has been taken
You have
out.
Damascus has
you
flipped.
said Lebanon. You said
The entire
Damascus.
Syria
What part of Iran's been taken out?
Dude, this is the entire Axis structure for
Which
Iran
part of
for
Iran
any
has been
support to
taken out?
come
You
to
said
Iran.
Significant infrastructure in Iran's been taken out. So where? Name it. Which
Dude,
facility?
their navy ports have been taken out, decimated. Their intel HQ has been decimated.
I want one Mo smoking. He's on some of those Jewish
Their
drugs.
air defenses are back on.
Their air defenses were never taken
but again,
out.
how effective? Let's be real.
Yeah, they took out 3
Let's
F-35s.
just simplify and be
Which
real.
other country's taken out one F-35 before? Name it.
No, hey, nobody is denying the fact that they will.
Question. You said they're ineffective. So which other country's been more effective?
No, nobody has stipulated in this discussion so
Which other
far
country is taking out an F-35 before? Why can't you answer the question?
That the Zionist structure since the 7th of October.
You're still a chicken shit. You still can't say the Jews, eh? You're still a fucking loser. Okay, so which other country's taking out an
The
F-35? The
Zionist,
Zionists, the
the
Jewish state.
Zionist structure, the Zionist structure definitely since the 8th of October has been fully engaged, and this is unprecedented. Definitely for people from us who come from the region, we know these people
No, you
very
don't know
well,
shit.
and this is
You
the
know your
first time.
fucking Jews that
This
you
is the
deal
first
with.
time they
You know
have.
the Jews you deal with because you
This is
manage
the
their
first
money.
time.
They give you
This
money
is
to
the
manage. That's
first
why you
time they
sell
have
them.
engaged at this level where they are willing to lose life, where they are willing to lose life of their own people at this level. We have never seen this before. In plus 40 years, 50 years, this is probably an unprecedented moment for them, and they are engaged, and hence why they want to go all the way. And they are definitely softening the landscape significantly in Iran, and the concern is whether NATO comes in, when does NATO come in, and not if.
Wait, money mean when they come in. They've already been in. They've already been helping the UK, France, the US.
Yeah, there's a
Jordan,
difference
all
between
your Sunni
defense
supremacist
support versus
taxpaying
an
states have
attack.
been helping. Don't worry. It's not your state, Qatar, the one you live in. They've been helping.
There's a huge,
Oh yeah, I forgot.
there's a huge
You live in a
difference
Zionist
between
state. You live in Qatar. I forgot. The same Qatar that
there's a
funds
huge
ISIS.
difference between
Mo,
a
are you a part of
defense
ISIS?
posture
Hey, were
and
you
an
one of the
attack
funders
posture.
for ISIS, by the way? You know the prime minister
Again,
gave an interview where he said they contributed $2 trillion. Were you one of the investors? Did you get anything out of that? Do you have a piece of the pipeline deal that's going in from Qatar into Syria to Turkey? Are you making a piece of that? Why are you
that's funny
laughing? I didn't
stuff.
hear you say
But
no.
anyway,
I didn't hear you say no, Mo.
again,
That's what I
that's just
thought.
silly,
That's what I
and
thought. You're a
I like
Zionist.
the way you're being silly.
That's why you're talking
Right.
shit about Iran. You always, you're so typical and predictable, man. It's. Anyway, someone else can take this low
No, of
IQ
course.
guy.
Again,
This guy comes with no facts. I'm still waiting for your evidence.
I said
Where's
very
your
clearly.
evidence?
Yeah,
Big guy,
and I
where's your
I
evidence?
told you that's there.
Where is it?
The
Why don't you
evidence is
post
there, and
it?
I'll put it up
Post it.
if I could post it. I will
I'm
post it,
waiting.
and I don't. You know that I don't, and
Well,
I'll
I
send it
know
to
you're
you.
full of shit. So until I see evidence, I believe none of what you said because you can't even do numbers. You couldn't even figure out stats. You said less than 1% accuracy based on the
Dude,
missile salvo, and
dude,
you claimed four
what
missiles
missile
landed.
salvo of
4
40?
missiles
There's
out
a
of
lot
40
more.
landed. It's 10%.
There's a lot more than
How many?
40
Well, give me the
missiles
number
that
then.
were
Okay,
launched
you're saying it's not 40.
towards.
How many? You're
Again,
saying a
there's
lot
a lot
more.
of reports,
What are the reports say?
but at the
Which
end of the
report?
day,
What does the report say? I'm cornering you.
at the end of
I'm
the day,
cornering you. Which report? How many?
The Iron Dome has been quite
Oh, now the
successful
Iron Dome has been. Are
to
you a
stipulate the least.
shareholder in the Iron?
They have been
Okay.
able to actually shoot down a
I can't take this
significant
guy
amount
seriously
of
anymore.
whatever has been
Israel admits
projected
that
towards
Israel
them.
already admits.
And if you
Okay.
actually know how those systems even work, you'll
You don't
understand
know
that
how
it
those
actually
systems work,
chooses
and
what
I've
is
seen them
actually
fail. I've
is
seen the
supposed to
videos of them
land and what
failing.
isn't supposed to
I've seen the
land.
hypersonics
Right.
land. Do you even know? Hey
Nobody
Mo, how
said
fast
it's
does a
perfect.
hypersonic missile go?
Nobody
Since you're so
stipulated
smart and
it's
you know
perfect.
everything, how fast does a hypersonic missile go?
Again, there's no need to go
There's no
into
need for
the
details. Yeah,
details
I
of
know.
whether it's
Just
like,
believe whatever you
yeah,
say because you think you're
is
smart because you
it a
make a lot of
5 Mach
shekels.
or is it a
Hey,
6 Mach
does your
or
company
whatever it is?
invest in
It
the
doesn't matter.
pipeline that's being
What
built
matters,
from Qatar into Syria? Yes or no? Are you an investor in that? Did you invest
my
in
company?
ISIS?
Of course not,
You're
man.
an
What the
ISIS
fuck you
bro. Oh,
talking
of
about?
course you did. Come on,
What's
you
stupid?
managed the money in Qatar. They invested $2 trillion over the last 11 years into ISIS, into the troops. It's a lot of money. They would have needed your money. You're a rich guy.
Again, if we're talking about Qatar, and I'm not any spokesman for Qatar, their position is very clear. They are American allies. They have one of the
Don't
highest
they have the
ranking of
biggest
American
American
allyship,
base
and they
on
don't
their
lie about it.
territory?
They don't lie about that.
Oh,
And
yeah,
their
we
position
all
is
know.
extremely
You're
clear.
the only one that lies is
And
you.
hence
I
a
know
lot
what
of the
Qatar
back
does.
channeling that has taken. But the question is whether we even
The
believe
question
some
is,
of
when are
that
you going
back
to present
channeling
some
on the
evidence
premise
to
that America
substantiate
is not
all your
going
bogus
to.
claims? Where's the evidence? You said that
I'm talking right now, and I said
Israeli
I will
fighter
send it
jets
to
are
you. And I
currently
think a lot
flying
of
over
people
Oh
listening.
Tehran.
my
Can you
God,
please present
Mo,
some of your
Yes.
where have
evidence, you
you been?
bullshitter? I'm waiting.
Okay.
Stop yelling at
How you doing?
Mo. Truth.
Mo's
Hi,
full of
Mo.
shit.
How
You
are
can take
you?
this Jew
Stop
fuck and
it.
shove
This
him
is
up
my
your ass
friend,
for
and I
like
want to
air.
say
He's
hi
full
to
of
him.
shit. He's
Relax.
nobody's
Just chill
friend.
for
He's
a
a
second.
fucking Jew. I don't even know
I
why you
don't
could take him
care.
seriously.
He's not a Jew. Are you
Oh
fucking?
my!
He is
I
a
told
fucking
you.
Jew. He
Look,
converted. He brags
he's
about the
calling
shekels he
everybody a
makes.
fucking
Look at
Jew
him.
now.
Right.
Hold on. Relax
Hey,
for a second.
shalom,
Mo,
fucker.
tell me.
Mohammed the Jew.
How are you? How's everything been
If
going?
I'm Jewish, man, Suleiman is.
Hey,
I
hey,
don't know
look,
what to
man.
tell
Those Unit A200 guys, they start you young. They teach you the language. They give you a new name, just like Al
Jeez,
Zulani. They use apparently a
truth. Just
product of
give me a
Operation
second to say
Ulysses.
hi to him. Oh, Michael's
Why?
here.
Say hi
Hi,
to him in the
Michael.
DMs. Who cares? He's not that
Because I
important. He
do.
thinks he's
Nobody wants
important.
to hear you calling everybody a Jew all fucking day.
Nobody.
Relax, please.
Hey,
More is
Maze,
Maze
you
a
don't
good
need, you don't need to
more
let
is
Mo
Maze
hide under your skirt. It's okay.
more
You
is
can
Maze
take
a good
Hide
breaks.
under
asset.
my what?
He's hiding under your
This
shirt
is a
like the
good
little
asset.
bitch that he's always been.
He's not
Needs
a
a woman
bitch.
to
This
he
is
needs a woman
Mo.
to
This is
defend
like
him.
family, dude. What are you
She
fucking
lures
talking
He's
about?
not
lures
fucking
them.
family.
She
He's a
lures them well.
traitor.
Yeah,
He just
why is
cares
he a
about money.
traitor?
That's
I'm
it.
so
He even brags
confused.
about it. He's like, I'm counting my dollars. He's bragging about his money. That's it. He talks and
What's
The
thinks
wrong
like
with
fuck,
a
man?
that?
traitor.
You're not allowed to count dollars. Like, what the fuck's
Why are
wrong
you
with you?
bragging about it? You think what
We're
are you,
supposed to
nouveau
come here
rich?
and
Like,
not
look at
count
me, I
dollars.
made a
It's
few
like,
bucks.
what do you want?
I don't give nothing from
Well, how
you.
we? I'm not
Nothing
making
from you. I
any
don't even
few
know why
bucks
you're
out of
here.
you or
You're full
this.
of shit. You come with lies and no claim, no evidence for your claims.
Because
I'm
That
still
doesn't
waiting.
sound
because
real
I
You're making
came
me feel shit.
I I came because there's a good amount of hopium, and you're doing a great
Wait, there's a
job.
whole lot of
Truth, we
copium
are on the
coming out of
same
you. I'm
side.
just asking, what are you smoking? What is it?
I ain't coping.
You're
I ain't
coping
coping.
hard.
I,
You're
I,
coping
I
hard because you're just anti-Iran at this point because you're just lying about what took place the last 2
definitely
days.
I'm not. I am
I'm
not
waiting. So
anti-Iran.
you
That's
said
not
that
even.
Israeli fighter jets are currently circling around and doing laps around Iran as we speak.
Yeah,
Where?
dude.
Can you show me on
They're
Skyscanner?
even
Which
read.
website? Can you show me some evidence?
They are. Oh, you think these guys have their radars on and they're just
I'm
giving
just
you
asking
their
the question.
transmissions? Are you
Which
serious?
Iran's a pretty big
You're
country.
silly, dude.
Won't they have to
You're a silly little boy that
Okay, so they took
I'm
out
shocked to
three.
give
You
even a bit
acknowledge they took
time,
out three
right?
F-35s.
But
You
at the
think they'll
same
have the
time,
balls to do
what
anymore?
people
So
do
you
need to
weren't aware that
understand, what
Iran
people
took out
do
a
need
bunch
to
of
I
missiles?
understand
can't even hear
is the
you
reality of
because
what's
this
going
is
on.
The problem
crazy.
is this guy
Can
just
we
doesn't
just?
know anything. He's never ridden a fucking thread in his
But are you
life.
gonna
Yeah.
just
Spent half
completely
his time
contemplate?
chasing.
Okay, guys. One second. Obviously, I wanted to hear that, but I actually don't know what's going on. Like, I think Mo, you must be trolling though, bro. Like,
They are refueling.
this is like
They are
They're
refueling
no, but this
refueling,
top of
Solomon.
that
They're
airspace.
refueling.
no, but he's trolling. Like, this is not possible. Like, it's like he's had a personality shift.
He's become a
Come
Jew.
on,
He
Mo is
converted.
family. Give me a break.
Yeah. You know, he's one of your family members. He's a Jew like you,
Yeah,
dog.
no, he's been a family
But
member in
both of
here
you
while
guys
you're
are
still
family to
sucking
me. Can we
somebody's
just be
dick.
nice at least to talk for a few minutes
Fuck,
before you cuss each other out?
you're like
Gosh.
a chick
No,
with
but
a voice modulator.
Go
You
ahead,
just
dog.
run
Come on,
on the
let's have another
mouth.
Stop it,
five shot
Doc. You're
session.
not
Then
gonna
you can run
pile
away
up.
like.
all right, guys, calm down. Maze, I think you didn't hear the discussion beforehand, so I think you're coming in a bit cold. Let's just put it this way: Mo's
Doc's an
like,
old man. He doesn't hear very well.
no, not Doc Maze. I'm talking about. I'm
Kick your
shocked.
ass
Like
in a heartbeat.
like it's just like the opposite of like the guy who was here back in the day. I don't know. It's a bit different.
Okay,
I'll
explain.
tell you what.
Can you tell me?
when we were in the beginning stages of talking, on spaces and so on, and I made it very clear, and there was pushback back then. They really cared to take out Hezbollah, and they've done quite a clinical job when it comes to what they've decimated in Lebanon, South Lebanon, and South Beirut. And it put a lot of pressure from both politically and militarily. And we lost Sayed Hassan Nasrallah in the process, which is a big loss. He held the entire axis, in my humble opinion, better than anybody else. And that was probably target number one, regardless of what a lot of these Israelis will tell you. Fast forward, it's this slow death process that's pissing me off. It's this slow process of seeing them take advantage of opportunities and take it all the way, and the pro-Palestinian side taking any inch of, how can I say, negotiations or opportunity to say, oh look, there's an opportunity. There is no opportunity. These guys are locked, step loaded. Trump is involved. They're all involved. This is what they want. This is all per plan. And I think that's the hopium issue that I have with, it's a lot of hopium. Do we want to see that more missiles land on Tel Aviv? Of course, for sure. But how many will, up until the point that they will produce a lot more damage on the
Yeah,
other
but
side, and that's the
listen.
concern.
The reason why I feel like you're trolling, it's either trolling or I don't get it, right? Or maybe like I don't know. I don't want to like throw accusations or whatever. We had a few disagreements at the beginning, but like to make the argument that only 1% of missiles hit when in any count, even according to the Zios, no one says 1%. It just must be that you're trolling because you're basically saying that out of 100 missiles, only one missile landed. So, like, that made no sense. So either you're doing it for banter or whatever, or you're like, I can't even remember some of the points you were making, but they were like, there was like no basis behind it. And the person I know in the past, for example, True Promise 1 and True Promise 2, you were literally saying, oh my God, it's so amazing. But what we've seen today is over these last few days has been significantly out, like basically significantly more ferocious than True Promise 1 and 2. So either you've had like a personality shift or I don't know, bro, like you sold out. I don't get it. It makes no sense. You're like totally opposite statements to what we said before. True Promise 1 and 2, I was underwhelmed, sorry. And you were like, oh my God, it's amazing. All this happened, all this and all that. And now you're like, oh, like Israelis are winning. They get smashing everybody up. No missile got through. 1% only got through. They're destroying Iran. Like, it makes no sense, bro. Like, oh, he's dropped. But anyway, I was just surprised.
Holy cow, he said all that?
Yeah, I was. That's why I let it go. That's what truth was like. What you on about, bro? Like, you're not making no sense. Where are you getting 1% from? Where are you getting?
Fuck, he sold out, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it made no sense because like
If
True
you have a
Promise
lot
1
of
and
gold
2,
coins,
which
then
were significantly less than this. He was like one of the biggest promoters of how well it went. So yeah, I was surprised, bro. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I'd love to hear Mo explain the
Yeah.
difference. I
Sorry,
perceive it
no,
as
it's
well.
just a change of connection. So I don't know. It drops you down, I think.
What, a
Is
massage
it?
drops you down? Yeah, you love
So
pep talk?
so
You
so
have to get a new
I
strip.
I I heard everything you said up until it dropped me. So yes, look, at the end of the day, if it's about picking sides and so on and so, we know our position, we know our sides. The issue that we keep facing is there is this inclination that there is hope or it's possible. We continue to underestimate what this entity can do and what it's willing to do, and how and the fact that they gave us examples of what they want to do and what they're willing to do in Gaza is where I get a little bit perplexed on how people's position. Of course, we are in the same position. The question is, can anything happen? The problem is these openings or these opportunities that they take advantage of create concerns for the next 10 years, the next 5 years, the next 20 years. They are slowly creeping and taking more position and more power in the region, i.e., again, I go back, Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. They have taken more positions there than they ever did pre October 7th. And they're on the move, and they're moving pretty quickly to the point where now they want to include Iran. And so there's a big concern about, the last so-called juggernaut that is standing in the face of evil of Israel and the Zionist structure. Where is it going to go? And that's hence where I'm being realistic and saying I'm concerned, heavily concerned, because you don't have a choice here. It's either you win or you lose. And the concern I have is, they haven't shown any signs of losing from whenever they started or initiated something. That's my concern.
Yeah, but that's a totally different argument. Like you can say that, you can make that argument, and I can see the logic behind it. That's fine. Like you think they should do better. You feel like they should have done things sooner. That's like no issue with those
Yeah,
points. It's
this
the
is
points.
highly uncoordinated at this
No, but
point.
the points you were making at the beginning, like in my mind, it could either be you were trolling for the bans or you literally.
Yeah, of course. I try again. At the end of the day, though,
Or you became a Zio because it makes no sense that.
when we talk about success rate,
But
the
look, bro, like
success rate is
no, but
quite
you can
low.
say no, but you can say that. You can say, look, I'm unhappy with the attack should have been a lot more ferocious or whatever. Like even then, I wouldn't agree with you. But at least like it's better when you're saying like only 1% of missiles hit, or for example, is what do you call it? Israel controls the entirety of Iranian airspace, which is a statement came out of from the Israelis. It has no basis behind it. Obviously, you can't find a source for it. It's literally the Israeli source. We read it out on here. So when you look at like the arguments you were making, A, they had a weak basis. B, they were just from the Zionist media. C, even the Zionist media weren't saying that only 1% attack. So the only thing I could conclude is that yeah, you were just trolling for bans, which I don't mind, a bit of entertainment on Spaces, or like you'd sold out. Like it makes no sense. Like what you were saying. That's like
Well, I mean, he sold out a
everything
long
Truth was
time ago.
saying. Sorry.
He sold out a long time ago.
Dude, we have we have our land destructed, our families killed.
Dude, you're a rich fuck living in Qatar. You're fine.
Well, again, the fact that I'm fortunate
it doesn't make the situation for others
Yeah, your fake sympathy and your lies are
unfortunate.
falling on deaf ears.
We're here on the internet communicating, and yeah, of course, I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned for the people of Iran, to be very frank with you. But our minds and hearts are still with the people of Gaza. This is overshadowing what's happening in Gaza. But again,
It's
I want to
actually
go back
not.
to I
You
want to go
showed
back to
Israel
simplifying. I want to go
redeploying
back to
forces from Gaza
I want to
because they're
go back,
losing
if you
in
don't
Iran.
mind.
Yeah,
Truth
I
be
are you
said.
disagree with
aware?
that. I disagree with that as well. Like, it's not overshadowing because if anything, people stopped like talking about Gaza that much. People had fatigue. People posting a lot more. People were doing less. People were doing hardly any spaces on it. And if anything, this like now, if you look at it, people are talking a lot more about Gaza. People are speaking a lot more about it. So I don't agree that it's overshadowing.
I
And
think a good chunk of the world are hopeful. I'm not going to deny that either. I think a good chunk of the
no,
world.
no. So the hope, being hopeful is a different point because you said about people that forget this removes eyeballs from Gaza onto a separate point, and I'm just trying to demonstrate that that's not the case. In terms of the second point, in terms of hope, of course, one always has hope because the hope is that America doesn't join for sure. The hope is that Israel's left on its own. There's many hopes that one has for sure.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that's the actual situation or the case at hand? Do you really believe that America will not step in on the 11th hour if need be?
No, I think they will. But the hope, because you're talking about hope, isn't it? I do
So
think.
that's what I'm saying. Is this like are we doing hopium? That's why I came. You call it trolling or
No,
whatever it is.
but it wasn't though because we mentioned about America. We had a good long conversation about America joining, and I
America
think
is involved.
we know America's involved, but we mean directly.
They
And
are
so
directly involved.
no,
They've been directly involved in the whole plan from the beginning till now.
no, not the plan, bro. When you clearly need to understand when one says certain statements, what they mean. When they say directly more, they're not directly bombing Iran with their own fighter jets. They're obviously facilitating in different ways. And what I'm saying anyway, is that
You
when you
genuinely
say
believe America is currently not
no,
involved in bombing Iran? Do you
you miss
genuinely believe that?
yeah,
I just
well,
wish to see the caliber here. Do you genuinely believe
what
that the
caliber,
United
bro? You literally
Do
said there's
you
only one
believe the
missile.
United
You
States
literally
of
said only
America
one
is
percent,
not currently
bro. Wait,
conducting
one second,
campaigns in Iran?
1 second. I don't know why you're saying caliber.
Come
Listen,
on.
the caliber is good here, bro. Like we're not dumb
Come
enough to
on,
say
you
there's only
should
been.
know better than that.
No, well, listen. I'm gonna explain to you because you keep switching the point each time I'm debunking your points, and you keep switching it. You're
My
like a
point
little,
is that
you're like
Iran
a
is
little dog,
standing alone.
you trying to get through the
Is
mousetrap.
standing
So
alone.
let me go through each point. Where? So Truth asked you for evidence for a number of points. You've not provided anything. Now I'll ask you, where is the evidence that America has directly bombed some place in Iran?
He read his stool samplings. It was magic. He's totally convinced. It's proof. It's science.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take a minute to get to
You gotta
no,
wait
hold on a
20
second
minutes.
because you asked something specific so that
Hold on a second. No. Dude, you're running off with the mouth. You think you're the star of this space. Let other people talk.
you
Let
can
them
talk.
think
Go ahead.
about it.
I
Let other
just
people.
said I wanted to give him the evidence that they asked for. That's all. So that if I go quiet, that's what I'm doing.
That's right. Go. That's fine. Let him go and speak to his
Good
handler.
luck with your
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Handler.
Let's go to Doc.
No, I just came back because I saw my friend Mo come back.
Oh, you're here.
I know Mo from the crypto spaces, the Whale Coin Talk. And, he's Iranian and he feels like he's got something to say about what's happening to Iran. And so he's back, so I came back. Don't enjoy the food fight, as you know. But that's really all I've got to say. I think no one wins in a war. I do not think that we're actively engaged in attacking. I do think we're actively engaged in defense of Israel. And that's my opinion, and no one can gainsay it, not Truth, not anybody else. These are just opinions. There's no source on either side that I would trust implicitly, because this is the fog of war. Propagandists on both sides, using techniques and tools that we've never had before with AI. I doubt every video that I see. And the only reason that I think I believe what I know is going on is because I come to this space and I hear both sides. And when someone just runs off with the mouth constantly, like Truth has done throughout this day, and I know you guys have been doing this for 3 or 4 days straight, and God love you, and I think He does, because I've seen this happen before. These marathon spaces with the two of you.
Doc, you got something going on with your mic.
You
It's clicking.
lost your blue check, and you're still dominating the topic on X, the #1 news app in the fucking world. So someone should have a little bit more respect for the hosts, a little less disregard for their own convictions, and try and take a moment to see if someone else might have something constructive to say.
Appreciate that, Doc. Appreciate the praise as well. Let's go to Will. Listen, Will. We are here to hear what you gotta say, please. Don't get upset. Don't get emotional. Sometimes I make jokes. It doesn't mean you don't have a right to defend yourself. Israel has a right to defend itself. Iran has a right to defend itself. But all I was saying before you got emotional before you left was, I was like, Noah, is that the guy? Is that Fidgetal's boy? Oh, damn. And you were like getting emotional, because then I was like, I mean, we know Fidji, right?
I would say that I wasn't the only one getting emotional, but it has been a emotional 3 days from me and my family. So anyway,
sure,
I don't exactly remember what.
Are you from Iran? Like,
yes, my parents are Iranian, and I grew up spending my summers in Iran. In Tehran, Esfahan.
Someone said you were Iraqi, you see, but I guess.
Yeah, I heard that. I don't. I speak fluent Farsi, and I spent quite a bit of time in Iran.
All right, test. Speak to Miz.
To who?
Miz.
خسته نباشین.
Is that Iraqi accent, Miz?
Say yes.
سلام.
It's Iraqi. You said it was Iraqi accent, Will.
اینا چرا فکر میکنن که من عراقی هستم؟ اصلا این where did they get this
یه ذره لهجه داری، یه ذره.
من لهجه آمریکایی دارم، ولی چون من اینجا به دنیا اومدم و بزرگ شدم، اما از بچگی میرفتم
اصفهان. Like Miz only knows a few words. She's trying to blog it.
No,
right, okay.
no, he's good. He's
not got like an Iraqi accent or
no, he's got an American accent.
I'm joking.
You're official, Noah.
Right, chill. Okay, so Will, tell us your position, right? Because you said you're not a monarchist. And by the way, you had a few people on here. The doc who's been on here quite a lot. Not Dr. Roshanak, the other doc. Is it Doc Atta? She doesn't support the current regime. She doesn't support the monarchists. So you say she's more of a pro-democracy type person.
Iranians are so if you look at the last 125 years of Iranian history, Iranians have tried twice. They have attempted twice at a democracy. One in the 1910s, and the British and the Russians made sure it didn't happen. And then once again in 1953 with Mohammad Mossadegh. And that was obviously the doing of the CIA. So everyone knows that the Shah was a Western puppet. And there's a reason that the Shah was toppled. This is why when I go into spaces with monarchists and hear people chanting King Reza Pahlavi and chanting the return of his son, I cringe, because there's a reason the monarch did not work out. There's a reason the 1979 revolution happened. So that's that. I don't care about what happens with the current regime, right? They have power, and that's that. I care about the Iranian people. I care about the Iranian people. I care about Iranian people having freedoms. I care about Iranian people being able to express themselves through art, through poetry, through films. I mean, we have a rich and ancient history, and there's a lot that we've contributed to the world, well before there was an Islamic Republic, well before there was a monarch. So I'm very much aligned with the doctor that was on here before. I forget her name. We just want to see a prospering Iran and a peaceful Iran and a prospering Iranian population. I mean, that's really what I chalk it up to. That's really what it comes down to. And what I said was that these two governments, right, the Israeli government and the Iranian government, are not going to stop. They are going to be at each other's throats, because this is just their existential existence, as they like to put it, is on the line. So if some civilians die in the crossfire, it is what it is. That's their perspective, and that's what I was saying. And I think it was Hussein that was saying, no, only the Zionists. which is objectively false, right? I know that people are emotional and they hate the Zionists, but you have to understand the relationship that the Iranian people have had with their government over the last 45 years.
Okay, so why don't you explain some of the specific issues that you have with the Iranian government, and please don't say feminism.
I don't want to.
Please don't say women's rights.
I don't want to get into my. I don't want to criticize governments. I'm not gonna. All I'm saying is that if you were to go and you were to interview Iranian youth on the streets, which I have in the past, and you ask them how they feel about the current situation, the current system, the current regime, you would get very similar answers. Iranians want freedom. Iranians want democracy. Iranians have wanted both of these things for the last probably 100 years, right? But each time we get close, each time they get close to it, I'm also American. I'm proud to be American. But each time Iranians get close to it, an interfering government, another superpower comes in and makes sure it doesn't happen. So yes, people like to romanticize the Shah's era because comparatively, there were a lot more freedoms. However, there's a reason the Shah didn't work out, right? Savak was one of the reasons that the Shah was toppled. He couldn't control them. They were in the streets beating students for reading anything that was contrary to the current status quo. And there's a reason young students in Tehran in 1979, there was an uproar and there was a Magba Shah. Khomeini, when he came into power, promised the Iranian people something much different than they got. I mean, this is not, I'm not making things up. You're welcome to go and read about our history.
Can I just point out that, like, in America, you could say, oh, the people want to overthrow Trump. You know, you take a poll and they all want to overthrow Trump. Or you could go say, everyone wants to overthrow Trudeau. Or, I mean, in almost any country, you could take a poll and more than half the people are pissed off, especially once they're in power, because the other people are just lazy and they don't vote. And then when the person gets in, then that other portion of that population kicks off. But personally, regardless of how it works out, at least throughout history and with the spirit of humanity, Iran will always be able to say that they did not bitch out and they were not cucks completely on the world stage.
You sound like my dad.
All right, so Whale, the comment I have to you is, as soon as Khomeini came into power, I mean, shortly afterwards, you had those same students who wished for him to come into power, supported him initially. They decided to take over the embassy, which was also served as the CIA headquarters. Well, that was a red line for America, essentially, and they gave the green light shortly after for Iraq to invade. So when you say under those circumstances, 8 years of war plus, you know, thousands of sanctions being leveled and then being deemed a state sponsor of terror, that Khomeini really would not have had an opportunity to deliver on his promises under those circumstances, time of war and sanctions?
I'm sorry, what promises, truth are you referring to?
You were the one who said he didn't deliver on his promises.
Yeah.
And now you're asking me to tell you which promises?
Okay, well, just
promises of this utopia life that you think that he promised. I'm not sure what it is that he didn't deliver on that he was able to under those circumstances.
Okay, let me explain this to you. Iranians were not expecting to get a theocracy. Iranians were not expecting to get Sharia. Women in Iran were not expecting to. It was a chant called Rusari ya Tusari, which means that if you're not wearing a hijab, we're gonna hit you in the head. No. I mean, you're laughing, Suleiman, but this is something that my family.
Yeah, I just know there's like feminism drama, but anyway, I'll debate my.
Suleiman, it's not feminism drama. This is the lived experience of
women
Iranian.
don't even cover up anymore.
I'm sorry?
I said women in Iran don't have to cover up anymore.
Sure, truth, but how much suffering and chaos and death had to happen for us to get to this point?
Okay, but that's suffering and chaos.
Yeah, but this is
the hands of Iraq.
Even then, why is that suffering? This is just like feminine. Like, listen, you could talk about other issues when it comes to Iran, right? And I want you to speak about them. Like, I think I've given you a platform to do so. But when you're doing all this like feminism drama and women didn't have the rights to like take the hijab off or this and that, this is this is propaganda in the sense of, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that, which has been infused into different, like whether it's religious ideology or cultural ideology or whatever it is, to cause havoc, to basically demonize. Now, why is it that if a culture believes in this idea that a woman should cover is oppressive, but then when we have the diametric opposite of that, it's considered non-oppressive? So, like, for example, you have it in France where you're forced to remove the hijab. Why is that not considered oppressive? Or, for example, why is it that in the West you have a scenario where women are essentially encouraged, if not directed, to not only remove their clothes, but essentially, you know, sell themselves? You know, whether it's on whichever medium there is.
They're not
For
actually saying
example,
that, Suleiman,
only for
but
example, in
Iran.
various things like OnlyFans or even Instagram, like you rarely go on Instagram and women aren't like literally trying to sell their body. And so, why is it that that's not considered oppressive? And that is, I think, a culture maybe which is expecting a woman to basically be, like, I don't want to use the wrong word on my space, but you know what I mean, like a BH is considered non-oppressive, but that's gonna. I just don't agree with that. Like, I think that's a whole feminist argument. Now, if you say, "Oh, they forced them to do something else, or they did that," we'll have that conversation. We can have this conversation as well. But I just don't agree with this whole feminist argument.
May I respond to some of your points?
But
First
didn't
of all,
you just admit that they don't force them to do it in Iran just right now? Didn't you just admit that?
listen, can I respond to Suleiman? First of all, Suleiman, I agree with you.
Yes or no?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Because I was tripping because I heard that in Iran they're not actually forced to wear the hijab, and someone admitted that. And
yes,
as a Westerner, I am led to believe that they're literally getting beaten up in the street if they don't like cover their head. So to admit that is kind of like a mind altering substance for an American.
I see. So in when Mahsa Amini was killed, died.
Wasn't killed. You're lying right now. She wasn't killed. Did you even look at the autopsy report?
Truth, I haven't. If you want to drop
she
some
had a
knowledge
heart
on me, go for it.
condition. She
What's that?
wasn't tortured or beaten. She had a heart condition. That's not.
I don't know.
It's
if
a
her
lie
family,
when they claim that she was killed.
Okay, I don't know if her family would agree with you, but I don't want to go on that tangent. Basically,
I agree with Truth.
Basically, I'm saying that when that happened, a lot of the regulations or a lot of the pressure